enough of Keanu. Yes, it's true. Whenever we see you in another movie, get to wishing that you were in them all. Our hearts cry out, Keanu, haven't aged a day in 30 years. Now we're looking back on your career. Can't get enough of Keanu.
I'm not going to mention this on the podcast, but I saw somebody recently wrote an iTunes review, and they hate us.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
We got a negative review?
For me and Matt, specifically. They like you a lot. And they're like, why did he decide that he would bring these two fucking idiots on the podcast?
Seriously?
Go on iTunes.
I am looking this up
I looked it up recently.
right
It was
now.
so funny.
Oh my god. Wait, you don't want to bring this up on the episode? That sounds like...
No, because I don't want to give people fuel. I don't like... They're allowed to have that opinion, but I don't feel like talking about it. But they were just like... Apparently,
oh my God,
Pat decided to let... Please read it so Matt can hear it. It's
oh
pretty
my
funny.
god, they're...
They don't like us. They
This
like
is-
Pat a lot, and they're like, why did he just drag himself down with these two fucking...
This is so funny.
Joker Calvin pissing.
Oh my god. Well,
That's
hey Matt, you said you wanted people to be mean to you on the internet more. Do you really want it?
Yeah.
All right, read this one.
Okay, I'm also I am recording now.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so it's 2 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
The headline is frustrating and annoying. And this is funny because the previous review, 5 stars, says, "Come for Keanu and Patrick, stay for Matt and Jake."
Yeah.
So this is
you have to have your yin and yang. You have to have the two. We're a balanced and even news source.
the opposite. I guess I'm the only person who finds the Torpey Bros unbearable. Oh my god. I came to this podcast based on the strength of Patrick Willems' YouTube videos. Willems gives smart, insightful analysis and interpretations of film, and I've enjoyed everything he's posted. And I've been a Keanu Reeves apologist for decades, so imagine my excitement in finding out that Patrick has a podcast series dedicated to covering every single film of Keanu Reeves' career. Excitement quickly crashed and burned and transformed into annoyance and disappointment. For whatever reason, Willems has decided that having two people deeply convinced of their own comedic genius and whom derail the conversation at every conceivable point was the best way to do this. In listening to the John Wick episode, in the first 30 minutes, there were, perhaps, a grand total of maybe 12 minutes of conversation about the actual topic.
That's
the rest
fair.
of the time was spent listening to the Torpey Bros interrupt Willems, laugh at their own lame fake movie titles, and so on. In addition, the Torpey Bros, at least in the 45 minutes of the episode I listened to, are far, far inferior in their cinematic capabilities and knowledge compared to Willems. Deeply disappointing. I'm actually kind of envious of those who can listen to this and find it worth your time. I'm not going to subject myself to it beyond the portion of the episode I've already wasted time on. So, welcome to my world of getting stuff like that about yourself all the time.
Oh my god.
Woo. Listen, you can't.
That was really funny to hear you read
can't
that.
win them all, you know. That's
Yeah.
all I have to say about
That's
that.
also funny. Okay, so it was only the John Wick episode, which is like not that off the rails.
Yeah,
But does that, wait, does that mean that did he listen to the part about cats where you say, "Yeah, I'm thinking I'm cat"?
Yeah, maybe.
Because I think
Is that what he's talking
that's
about?
like the funniest fucking thing that's happened on the
Oh
show.
yeah. I mean, look, you can't change your personality. I'm just gonna say what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, listen.
So that's it. And that's that.
I'm in this meat suit and I'm just trying to pilot spaceship Earth. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
man.
saying? Fucking.
Just trying to live in the moment
laugh,
here.
love. I don't know, dude.
That's so funny. Oh
Well,
my god.
hopefully
I will
he's
say this person's really nice to me.
Loves
Yeah,
you.
Listen, you
Loves
didn't
what
lose a
have to
fan.
say.
You just, we just almost had and then didn't have one. That's all.
Yeah.
The thing is, the thing about comments like that or reviews like that is, the podcast that this person wants, I don't want to make or listen to.
Yeah, do you want literally hours upon hours of serious,
Of Pat doing what he does, sans
unremittingly
video.
serious, yeah, unremittingly serious, like, and legitimate critique of Keanu Reeves' entire filmography? Like, we can't talk about Prince of Pennsylvania seriously. You think we're not going to be goofballs most of the time?
I mean, sometimes it's gonna come about during the movies that are very serious, like John Wick 3.
Or more importantly, permanent record.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
Well, that's not
those
the-
ones actually do get us kind of bummed out. But
But yeah, but
what are you gonna do?
But again, I don't want to do 2 hours of just totally on topic analysis. Like, look, making those videos is fucking hard, and it's so stressful. And I have to go back to the office and shoot one after we record this tonight.
Yeah.
Fun.
So
Me and Matt.
this is like a bit of a break.
Yeah, me and Matt, the brothers T, we're a welcome reprieve for Thick Daddy Willems over here. He's
Yeah.
here looking to like blow some steam and just chill with some buds for a little bit, and
Crack
we're
a
here to
cold one.
deliver.
Right. He wants to put his feet up when he's with us.
Yeah.
And we're here to make him laugh.
Which isn't really the case because I still have to like wrangle you two and be like, guys, let's
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
get to
Don't
the
get it
next-
twisted.
the
Pat's still
next
pissed
story
and
point.
stressed the whole time.
Yeah, I'm sitting here watching the levels on the audio recorder.
Oh,
Honestly,
man.
it probably feels a lot like the person who wrote that.
Yeah,
A decent chunk of the time.
annoying and unbearable.
That's,
Oh, well.
That's so funny.
You know what? We
You know
love
what?
you,
The
dude.
Joker
Though it's
trailer
fine.
came out. Think about that.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. I'm gonna go see the Joker movie.
The Doker.
the Toker.
Oh shit! Did anyone make that joke?
Hell yeah.
Wait, you know the
That's
last
the only way to deal with society.
you know
is
the
get
last
high.
shot
Get high.
of
Society.
of the shot of the trailer
doinker.
when he leans back.
Yeah.
Someone Photoshop a blunt into his
Oh
mouth.
well, people are. You never
that-
You follow that page Gangweed, and it's just all about the Joker living in society.
Oh, yeah.
and slonking fat doinks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's also what is
Don't
it?
worry,
The
someone's
Jo-
been on it for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen it on Twitter, but then again, I've been busy all day. How are you guys doing?
Pat, we're great.
Yeah, we're
We're
good.
doing really nice.
Did I introduce the episode yet?
No, let's do it.
it's a-
Like the podcast? Did I just jump right into reading that review?
It's Dangerous Liaisons.
Welcome to Can't Get Enough of Keanu, the internet's premier Keanu Reeves podcast, in which we explore the filmography of that great, ageless, enigmatic Canadian actor movie by movie. I'm Patrick Willems.
Hello, everybody. I am Jacob Torpey.
Matthew, hello.
Guys, that's the first time that I did the intro entirely from memory. I didn't read it.
Oh, hey,
Yay,
congrats.
Good job, dude.
Thank you.
Dude, that is seared into your neuronal
Milestone.
pathways.
Only, is this 12 episodes in?
Yeah,
Wow, it feels like just yesterday.
it does.
We were like, what if Keanu?
I know.
What if Keanu, let's sing Shallow, and then let's do it. Let's go for it.
Yeah. So wait, okay. How does one put stuff on Spotify? Because I think the world needs our Keanu Shallow song, like to be able to listen to, be able to stream online.
How do you put a legit song on? I mean, how do you put the podcast on?
That's different because that's
It's different.
that's through the podcast hosting platform.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know.
Because wouldn't it be cool if you just had like call it the Brothers T. Mm-hmm. Call it the Brorpies.
The Brorpies.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good name. That's really fun to
Say,
hear.
yeah.
It sounds good in your ear holes.
It definitely doesn't sound like you threw up in your mouth.
No,
Not at all.
But how do we get you guys on Spotify?
Could we sell it to Weird Al?
Definitely not.
He'd love that.
Does he take
Submissions.
unsolicited
Yeah.
submissions of just funny
Oh,
joke
Weird
ideas?
Al, Weird Al hasn't wrote any of his own music for like the past 10 years. You didn't know that? He's just taking submissions from the public.
And wouldn't it be really on brand for Weird Al to have a song that's just about coming up with the idea for a podcast that's referencing a podcast not a lot of people listen to?
If we did it like a polka song, maybe.
Yeah.
hey,
He always has one polka track on every album
Yeah.
in honor of his father, the late polka player, something else Yankovic.
wait. Are you saying polka?
Polka music, Polka.
Do you not pronounce the L?
No, I don't think so.
Polka.
Do
I don't know if I do.
I've never heard anybody say polka.
Have you seen the 1990 Chris Columbus film Home Alone, in which John Candy says polka, polka, polka?
Oh,
He says
yes,
pol-
I have seen that.
He
You're
says the word
right.
polka like about 900 times.
But is that right? Is
Is John Candy
right?
just being goofy and wrong on purpose? We'll never know.
I don't know, but
I mean, do you say folk music?
Exactly. And that's where I think I get the pronunciation of polka.
folk
Is I'm just
music.
like, oh. The L is so...
Suddenly, I have thought of it as polka with the L pronounced my entire life. If you don't pronounce the L in polka, then everything I know is a lie. And I am going to be forced to go on some journey to find myself, probably in Asia. I hear that's what white people do.
Yeah,
And
you climb like in all I can think of is Ace Ventura 2.
I was going to say eat, pray, love.
Hold on.
Polka.
Polka.
It's polka?
Polka music. Play it again, Jake.
What? What is happening?
Please leave that up so we can keep pressing it randomly during the episode.
Yeah.
See, but we are also the brothers who.
Wait. But okay. It says here. I looked it up. If you Google it, P-O, and then there is the little L in.
But the L's in parentheses. So
Oh,
what
you're
does
gonna
that
listen
mean?
to Google?
What does that mean?
I don't know. That's why I have to look at somebody else say it. I
But
can't
we
read
had
that and
a robot
understand.
say it, so.
Yeah. We had a robot on YouTube tell us.
Guys, I'm like, this is stressing me out.
You also
Really?
say badminton.
Yeah. And
That's
that
how it's spelled.
Yes, but once again, there's two different. There's
spelling
how
and
it's spelled
pronunciation
and how
don't
it's
always
said.
gel. They don't always go hand
It's just
in hand.
badminton. There is no minton.
But
There's
like,
no
don't
minton.
beat yourself up over it. I mean, there's so many words I say wrong because I decide to use them for the first time in a conversation, and it's just been something I've ever read or like never had to say out loud.
Yeah.
I remember being in high school, and I had to say the word melancholy.
Yeah.
And I had never said it out loud
You
in
said
my
the
entire
dumbest
life.
version,
and I
too.
said melancholy out loud to an entire. You know why though? Is because I literally thought before I said it out loud, melancholy, and then I was like, well, that sounds stupid. It sounds like a weird dog.
Yeah.
I like a dog that eats watermelon or something.
Right.
I mean, that's accurate.
Did I ever say that
so-
I had a friend who said chaos, but he said chouse?
Chouse.
Like,
do you know how I used to-
chouse reigns? That's what he.
What an idiot.
I used to have a more fun pronunciation of chaos.
Yeah, which was what?
So my introduction to the word was the Super Nintendo game called Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City.
Yeah, dude.
Is that where he does the chaos dunk, right?
The chaos dunk, yeah.
Yeah, and when I would
Or is that the? Yeah. Never
when I would see that on the shelf in my local video store,
Yeah.
me at like age 7 thought assumed it was pronounced Chahoos. So in my head it was Michael Jordan Chahoos in the Windy City.
Chahoos.
At one time I said it to my mom and she was like, "What are you saying, Patrick?"
Mom, please, I want to buy this new copy of Michael Jordan Chahoos in the Windy City.
As in, I remember
Yeah.
where we were on vacation in Ireland. In my relative's house. I remember where I was standing
funnier that you're
when
in Ireland.
when I learned the truth about chaos. Also, great title for a book.
The Truth About Chaos.
Yeah, can't you see that
That's
as like
beautiful.
sort of like a New York Times bestseller, like an airport book?
Nice.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's just like a guy got,
Oh my God,
somehow snuck into the White House or something.
Yeah,
and he did,
everyone's
like, a little-
talking about the truth about chaos.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just going to be about a woman finding herself
we do
in
have
Asia.
In Asia, yeah.
her name's chaos. Although we do, Jake and I have the controversial paradigm of the thank you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we
which
say
has
thanks.
been weirdly I don't know.
It's irked a lot of
it's
people. Anybody that notices it starts to get pissed off.
mean,
They're like,
okay.
it's thank you.
Like,
and we're like,
pissed.
yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Here's the thing.
Thank you.
I've known Matt since 2004.
Yeah.
I discovered that you guys did this in 2008.
Yeah.
It took 4 years of spending a decent amount of time with you guys, mostly Matt, to discover that you did this. And I discovered it through you, Jake.
Yeah.
Because it was literally because we were
Access point.
We were making a movie and you were in it and you had to say your line was thank you and you said thank you and I was like, Jake, what are you saying?
Yeah, stop it.
I can't even hear what you mean.
And then Matt was like, what are you talking about? It's thank you. And I was
Yeah.
like, ah!
Thanks a lot.
And my favorite thing was when I asked your mom about it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, we noticed that when
They're special boys.
When we moved away from New Jersey, they started doing it, but we didn't want to say anything."
Wait, what? They repressed criticism?
She noticed, and then, yeah, it was just like, we don't want to discourage them? Like, what is the
Like their
logic
homeschool
behind
parents
this?
that are like,
Yeah.
we encourage a sense of healthy play here, and we don't have rules so much as suggestions for our
Yeah.
boys.
Also,
And we
I
just
just
started
went
saying the word
to
the as
MacMillanDictionary.com, and it says you pronounce the L in polka.
Okay, well, that honestly is more legit than what I looked up, which was a
Wait,
YouTube.
Jay, hold on.
Yeah, give me a sec.
And see our evidence really quick again.
Yeah, sorry. Exhibit A, if you will.
Willems.
What? And that's a YouTube channel. What?
Yeah.
Polka.
And here's the Cambridge Dictionary. Okay. I think that guy who wrote that review was right. I think this is a bad podcast.
Can we just have dueling poker computers? It's not, Pat. You just have to own it.
but
Lean
here's
in,
the-
Sheryl Sandberg.
Here's the thing. Also, at this point, I think what's happened is you two have dragged me down to your level because I'm not trying to talk about the movie. This is an episode about Dangerous Liaisons.
Yeah, it is.
A 1988 film directed by Stephen Frears.
You know what else is funny? We all like this movie, I think.
Yeah, it was
I'm
good.
like so into Dangerous Liaisons.
It's so
Oh,
funny.
you mean Les Liaisons?
Who wrote the play? Who wrote the stage play?
Because
that is how you say it. It's like Le Dangerous.
First, it is a novel by Pierre Chaudelot de Lascivious.
Yeah.
But then it was adapted into a play by Christopher Hampton, who also adapted his own play into the movie.
Yes.
So
he
it
wrote the
was
screenplay.
a French novel.
It was an epistolary novel.
Yeah.
Was it?
In 1782, pre-revolution France.
1782. Okay, nice. I was actually one of my first questions was when exactly this was set because I feel like it is important because like you got to have that period where it's not like is that Louis the 14th era?
Wow,
Or is that
French
before,
history
is that
not my
before
forte.
that?
We should know this. See, I was just, as I said to Matt when we were watching it last night, I just think of this as Marie Antoinette time.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of do the same thing, you know.
So the
But
French
isn't he
Revolu-
like the shorthand for like decadence?
Yeah, so the
like
French
Versailles?
Revolution was 1789.
Right, to 1799?
And this is set in the 18th century, so it's 17 something. Whether
Well,
or not
again,
he just said
the
1788.
book was written 7 years before the revolution started.
right.
And who was the king?
So this was like
Oh, yes, it was Louis the 16th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there were so many Louis. And, once again, everyone's right. I'm stupid. I don't know a history. But he's not the Sun King, but he's a Louis.
He is a Louis.
Right. Also very important, on the Wikipedia article for French Revolution, one of the images on there is the painting that is used on the cover of the Coldplay album Viva La Vida. Just want to
the flag, the Liberty, Lady Liberty holding the flag of victory or something like that.
That is the one.
Fuck yes.
Dun,
Dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dangerous liaison.
Pat, you want to know something cool too?
I-
You said this
I
is
do.
Marie Antoinette time, right?
Yep.
Well, I'm just looking up now. When this book was published, Marie Antoinette was one of the people who admired this book and got a lot out of it. She read it and was a big fan.
So the question is, in the Sofia Coppola film Marie Antoinette, why was there not a scene where she just sits there and reads this book?
I know, right?
That would
Well,
be tight. That would be a cool symbolism.
If I remembered that movie clearly at all, maybe there is a scene there. I just have no idea.
I just
You
remember
know?
her lounging,
Does
looking
anybody
hot,
remember?
and
Yeah.
then like Gang of Four is playing or something.
That definitely happens.
That's what I
Yeah.
remember too.
Yeah.
So okay, so I didn't realize though that the novel that it was a novel, and B that it was a novel written in the time it was set, which is
Contemporary, yeah.
1782. So that actually is super interesting. So it was like a social commentary sort of satire thing that then got turned into a play.
And what's interesting is the novel was written in 1782. The play was written almost exactly 200 years later.
Nice.
Crazy, right?
1985, the play was written, and then 3 years later, it became a movie.
And I remember I was actually watching an interview with Christopher Hampton and Stephen Frears about this movie. They asked Christopher Hampton why he wanted to adapt this because I guess nobody had attempted it up until recently. And he just said that it had left like a very, very strong impression on him as an 18-year-old boy. And at the time that he read it, he basically was left with the certainty that this was like the greatest novel he had ever read, which is funny to me because I'm like, okay, 17, 18, 19-year-old boy, and you read something with like a little bit of sex, but it's sort of dolled up to be a little bit more sophisticated.
Well,
of
it's
course,
like-
at the time, it's the best thing you ever read, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like, the description of it says, the plot focuses on the Marquise de...
Yeah, this is going to be a problem.
Speaking
moving
of
forward.
silent letters, Pat, it's Marquis.
No, it is. It would be Marquis if it were masculine, since it's feminine. And there's it's Quise. You would pronounce the S.
Pat's the only one who took French.
Oh, whoa. You actually taught me something. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't know
remember
that.
very little of high school French, but I remember that.
Okay, cool.
So the Marquise
stand
de
corrected.
Martoy, or however that is, like it. Okay, how would you pronounce the Teuil?
Tu.
Marquise,
Just like
Marquise
fuck
de-
up a bunch of the word, and that's
Marquise
usually
de Mathieu.
Mathieu.
And the Vicomte de Vermont.
Yes.
But rivals who use sex as a weapon of humiliation and degradation, all the
yeah.
while enjoying their cruel games. So my question
How French.
is this about Cenobites?
Well,
Well,
if you
look.
remember, if you listen, in one of the Hellraiser movies, they cut back, I believe, to France,
18th century France, I believe.
Played by Adam Scott.
Yeah.
And
So
a member of the royal family, played
Hellraiser
by
4,
Adam Scott.
Bloodline?
Yeah.
Hellraiser 4 Bloodline.
Directed by Alan Smithy.
Yep, the one that's set in both a spaceship and 18th century France. Yeah,
Right, it runs the gamut of hundreds of thousands of years. But
This movie has everything.
If our Cenobite history is correct.
well, I mean, also the Marquis de Sade is just like a huge influence on that whole.
And again, as someone who
Thing.
does not know much about this, when I hear Marquis, I think, ooh, they must be like lecherous and weird.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's just an honorific becomes like taints the entirety of that social
seriously.
class. But yeah, so like this is a sort of is it satirical or is it like a tragedy? It's like tragic comedy because it's funny and mostly.
It's very funny, and then it ends very bleakly. But that's
Yeah.
also it's the weird thing because to just jump deep into spoiler territory.
It's a podcast about a movie.
Right, exactly. But like
From the
you know,
80s.
But to jump like into the second half of the story.
Sure.
You have sort of our central character, but then who's like bad but fun to watch, and so you kind of root for him even though he's doing bad things.
Yeah.
But then you get to the point where like he like rapes people and is like so far beyond any kind of like you can't empathize with him pretty much at all at that point. He's like
No.
just totally villainous, and then ends up dying and destroying the lives of almost everyone around him.
Exactly.
And again, this is a movie that at least once Matt and I rewound to watch apart again because we were laughing so hard.
Yeah,
Really? I want to
yes.
know what parts you guys were cracking up
Oh,
about.
I
There's the one we love the most.
Yes.
Okay.
Our favorite one. It's the part when John Malkovich. I'm going to use the actors' names.
Same.
It's going to be Uma Thurman, Glenn Close, John Malkovich, and Michelle Pfeiffer and Keanu Reeves. I'm
Yeah.
not saying anybody else's real names for the rest of the podcast.
And the other people.
You don't need to hear me go like
Also,
like, for 2 hours.
Peter
Yeah.
Capaldi is in this film.
I did notice the young Peter Capaldi.
Yep.
Yes.
But so
he's good.
It's the part after John Malkovich, and we will go through the story from the beginning, I promise,
Yeah.
listeners. There's the part where John Malkovich has gotten Uma Thurman to like swap out these keys, and then he's trying to get the key back from her, but like before her mother comes back in.
Yep.
And but she's like not moving fast enough, and so he like gets the key and then sneaks out of the room. and
It's
then
so good.
And then her mother
Yeah.
comes in, and it's all done in this wide shot, and he's in the background hiding it behind the doorway, and you just get this shot, and like while Uma Thurman is talking to her mom in the foreground, and John Malkovich just walks backwards
Yep.
across
Yeah.
the background, like through the doorway, and he's like almost moonwalking.
Yeah.
It's so casual. He just walks just backwards, and it's so funny.
John Malkovich also does all of these. The two main characters, Glenn Close and John Malkovich, it's like the best casting.
It's
like,
great.
They are so perfectly cast for who they are.
Yeah.
And John Malkovich does some wonderful. He's so perfect because like he is at once weirdly handsome at times.
Yep.
But like sickly looking and just evil looking. And he just
yeah.
looks like the kind of person who he is so to a T that like I don't know, it's just like he embodies everything, and his like physical choices in this and his like physicality in that are so good. There's a lot of like weird things where he'll like repose with one of his legs way up high.
It's always that.
Or like he's like looks like he's stretching his hamstrings most of the time, but he's just kind of like reposing or doing this weird like contrapasta kind
Yeah,
of like stance.
he'll just like sit down and like lean back, but then raise one leg up onto like the arm of the chair.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to bring up mouths for a second time because I know we talked about Fred Ward's mouth in Prince of Pennsylvania for a little bit,
but John
Malkovich's mouth should have won an Academy Award once again.
More like John Malkovich.
Yeah, John Malkovich.
He like just in the same way that he makes like these hilarious choices when it comes to doing something as simple as sitting down on a sofa,
Yeah.
or like just walking across a room. He knows exactly when to purse his lips.
Oh my God,
When
Jake.
to get like a slight tremor or a furling of the upper lip. like how to like stick out his tongue. He does like a very timely hiss at one point at somebody else.
The hiss is incredible.
Yeah, like he has such a distinctly wonderful control over his mouth's movements that were like,
and especially because there's a lot of parts where he's like moving in for like a kiss.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of parts where you're staring at his mouth, like wondering if he's gonna like because it's getting real
those
close.
lips gonna purse. What's gonna
And
happen?
his teeth are real bad.
He has like one slightly stained tooth.
Yeah.
But that's what you don't really notice it for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not until like he smiles in close up at one point you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I wonder if are those his teeth, or did he get sort of grossed up for the?
I think he got grossed up.
a little. Yeah, maybe
he
a
must
little.
have, right?
Yeah.
His teeth aren't
he's
that
not, he's
bad,
not
but he
English,
does
man.
have.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
English.
this isn't au naturel, Matt.
But okay, I know we want to move through the plot, but
We'll get there.
We can talk
There's
actors.
no rush.
Let's
it's
talk about the
convoluted, but it
movie.
is also straightforward in a way.
We still haven't established how to pronounce polka/polka.
Yeah.
and we never will.
No.
It's nature nurture.
Yeah.
No,
Sound
but
off in the comments.
Beat off in the comments about Polka. Let us know your thoughts.
But I'm just really glad you brought up his mouth, because I also, for a long time, like every time I see him, I forget that he does this, because he what he does in this movie, he does in every movie. And it does, so it seems it's less, I think some of it's less of an acting choice and more just an impeccable casting, because he does this as a guy.
Yeah.
Because he has
Fair
a bit
enough.
of he has a bit of an overbite. So when he smiles or whatever, his front teeth go over his bottom teeth.
Yes.
And that gives him this very like, I want so badly to be able to do a John Malkovich impression. It would be so nice to be able to
That
pull
would be
off.
so nice.
It's very subtle. But so he has there's like that slight overbite sibilance to how he speaks.
It's the slightest lisp.
And then that person that you're talking about has obsessed me for years, because like it's so shitty and hilarious.
Yeah.
Where like his lips go, his front teeth are overbit, and so his lips hang.
His
over
lips almost overbite.
over the front. His top lip goes over his bottom lip in a more pronounced way, and he squeezes his top lip onto his front teeth in this pursed, like.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like it's such a specific type of pursing of the lips, and it looks so fey, but like in this shitty.
Yeah. It's ingratiatingly douchey.
It's just like, oh god,
Yeah,
it just sucks.
But it's just naturally a part of his face, you know?
But it works so well for this.
The thing that amazed me watching this is that when it comes to John Malkovich, the only thing I had seen him in before this from like around this era was Empire of the Sun.
Okay.
Where he also is like an American in a Japanese internment camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is it Chinese?
No,
no,
Japanese.
it is
It's
Japanese.
Japanese.
I
Yeah.
understand the movie.
The sun. Yeah, the sun thing is.
But
yeah.
like in the 40s, I think. But after this, or
Yeah.
after that, I had not seen anything John Malkovich had been in until like almost 10 years later.
Okay.
Until you get to the 90s, when he has his run of like Con Air, being John Malkovich, like stuff like that, and where he's suddenly like in his late 40s, and
Yep.
he's kind of shifted into that mode of his career where he's just always like some sort of a weirdo,
Yeah.
and like he's middle-aged or older, and like it's like Con Air, The Man in the Iron Mask, Rounders, being John Malkovich, then you've got like it's
burn
all
after reading.
the list goes on and
again,
on.
like a following decade. But I've only been used to him as like a weird, often creepy middle-aged guy.
You know who he looks kind of like is Michael Stipe.
yes,
A little bit, yeah.
He's got that like kind of like, because he's bald and he's got that like skeletal like
something
cheekbone
gaunt
face.
about
Yeah, there's
him.
something gaunt
Yeah,
about
he's
him.
Pale.
But I have the idea of John Malkovich as a remotely like attractive or sexual being is something that has never occurred to me before, and so it was so disarming to have
see
him
it
show
in
up
this
in
movie.
this. As I'm like, oh my god, this guy could be appealing to people.
Yeah.
Like he's a guy who could seduce someone, because I could see him as a person who could threaten people and who could just like grouchily like like bark orders at people or complain a lot. But him as someone who could like seduce someone, it never even occurred to me.
Well, Malkovich is interesting because he shares that quality with Glenn Close. I think the choice of the two of them
is what I'm saying.
Is simultaneously perfect because they both have physical characteristics where you can see the sexual appeal of both of them while they also both retain like something very sinister, and it's very natural in their features.
Right.
Like they both are half steps in either or they're both half steps in either direction,
which is why you get something
there's
like
something scary about them, but you can see like this weird raw-edged sexual nature to it too. And just as much as John Malkovich's mouth is amazing, Glenn Close's eyes are amazing in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And her ability to like open them up in this strange, terrifying manner. And when she's smiling, she like can keep her eyes perfectly
unsmiling,
dead or unsmiling. And that's a really hard thing to do. And so I was like, the two stars of this movie is like, if you're going to narrow it down even more than just saying the actors' names, is like, these are the two body parts that they both control with like utter mastery. It's just like Glenn Close and her eyes and her ability to stare at characters, and John Malkovich and his mouth.
Yeah, the thing with Glenn Close that was also interesting. So like Malkovich was about like 34 when he did this movie.
Okay.
Glenn Close was 40. And I was thinking about this going into this movie because I didn't realize either of them, because they've both always read as old, as like, you know, like 50 to me. Like in their
Malkovich
entire
seems
careers.
older than 34 in this. Yeah, doesn't he?
Yeah, but like I'd never seen them as young as this before. I mean, like this is a year after Fatal Attraction.
Right.
which I think is significant to her casting here.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
But and I realized that, and Glenn Close is 6 years older than Malkovich, and I just realized that. And again, looking at her filmography, her first movie was only 6 years before this. She wasn't in movies in her 20s at all.
Interesting.
And I realized that Glenn Close has. I've never seen young Glenn Close.
Yeah.
This is like some of the. I think the youngest I've ever seen her was in The Natural, which is only 4 years before
Prior to this.
Yeah. But like I was trying to like get a read on how old they were supposed to be. Also, in this movie.
That's a good point. I think
I feel
Glenn
like
Close is supposed to. They're both supposed to play older, I think, than they actually are.
No, I think it seems almost. Well, first of all, I don't know, what was the life expectancy?
That's also
good point.
That's
Yeah.
the thing, and people had kids way younger.
Yeah.
because they get married when like women would get married when they were
I
teenagers.
think they're supposed to play exactly the ages they are. That was another thing that I thought was interesting.
Close is supposed to be around 40, and Malkovich is supposed to be slightly younger.
It makes sense in terms of, I'm sure there are ways to figure this out by just reading the novel, but
in the movie, she literally says that he's like 35.
he played
That is a line of dialogue in the film.
Right.
I think
remember
she's
that.
saying it to like Uma Thurman or someone like that.
Okay.
Just like she's like, how old is he? And she's like, 35. And she's like,
He's so old. He's
an old man.
He's practically dead.
Yeah. Hey, come on, Uma.
Yeah. Get real.
But I mean, like, I think the ages, that age difference, first of all, between Glenn Close and Malkovich as their characters makes sense for their dynamic, and also like the timeline of their exploits, and like
Yeah, I think I agree.
and their
with you. I see what you
standing
mean.
within the like aristocratic culture of this, like these couple like estate mansions that the thing takes place in. Because this also, I didn't realize this was a novel, because initially I had brought the presumption that it was a play. So I was like, this feels like a play.
Yeah.
You know, but that's just because like
The play was the intermediary.
you know how sometimes you watch movies that you can so clearly tell were stage plays because it's so dialogue heavy and there's very little
Very
little
few
setting
locations.
changes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought this was.
Well,
for a
yeah,
minute.
this is practically set in 5 different,
This-
lounges.
This doesn't
you forget.
feel like a play.
But you forget that, like, I don't
You
know.
see how it could be, but there's so
Jane
many.
Eyre,
Yeah, there's so many different like homes where they go. They go to the opera. There's so many different rooms within within the houses. That there's like scenes outdoors and stuff like that.
Who is the cinematographer again?
The
Sorry.
cinematographer is Philippe Rousselot.
Okay.
Who has a career that it's pretty vast. I mean, up to the point where, Jesus Christ, he like in the past decade, he shot like The Nice Guys and like the Fantastic Beasts movies.
All right, very wide ranging.
Like Big Fish, like all of these things.
Them.
And he shot like Interview with the Vampire. He I'm not like what did he do before this? Because I think this is one of his first like or at least American or English productions. Yeah, I think this was one of his first ones in English, and then from here, you know, he did a bunch more with Stephen Frears, and
I mean, the cinematography is great,
and we're going to talk about him again because he shot Constantine.
Okay,
yeah,
Jesus,
wow, what a wide range. All right, I mean, good for this guy. He said like a storied career, but it seems like he never is in want of work. He seems like he's always got something.
Yeah, and I do have to say, the color palette in this film, which is very into kind of like the almost like pastels, like pinks and blues and stuff like that. That's actually pretty consistent with just the look across a lot of his movies.
Oh, so he doesn't even change it per the needs of the film.
No,
You're saying he just is like, just make it pastel,
no,
whatever. Constantine, just pinks and blues.
I mean, no, he's a versatile guy,
right?
But there's, you know, sometimes with cinematographers, you can, you know, notice, you know, the way like Deakins uses like, you know, kind of like golden like hued light.
Yeah,
and you know, they have their little trademarks,
little inclinations.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, I can see that this fits in with his body of work, even like 30 years later.
Interesting. But yeah, still a pretty wide range. You know, Frears is kind of the same way. Stephen Frears is like a hard director to pin down. He's like one of those workman directors, you know? They always made like consistently good stuff, but you forget sometimes that their filmography is all the work of the same guy because the movies always tend to be kind of wide ranging and different.
Yeah, I mean, he's made a lot of like British dramas.
Yeah.
You know, he made like The Queen.
I've seen like High Fidelity.
But he made High Fidelity, which is kind of hilariously a British novel that was transplanted to Chicago.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and
he made
birthed
that.
Jack Black as we know him
I was
today.
about to say,
is that Nick
Stephen
Hornsby?
Frears. That's a Nick Hornsby novel.
Hornby?
Hornby.
Oh, Hornby.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what movie? The most current analog I could think of was The Favorite, though. When I was watching this,
For this film, yeah. Oh,
not
100%.
so much, not in terms of, I don't know, certain story aspects, but just like the setting and a lot of the like gamesmanship of people in this like.
You're watching a bunch of awful people like manipulate each other, and it's fun.
Well, and everybody gets their comeuppance by the end.
But in this one, it's more like you watch two absolutely morally bankrupt people slowly, you know, just destroy themselves.
Yeah.
You know, inadvertently.
Well, welcome to the
So there is a
Favorite, too.
morality to the I guess the novel initially of just like, you know, bad people do pay for
because
their behaviors in
who
this.
survives in the end? Our dude Keanu.
Oh,
Little
Keanu
fresh-faced
survives. He's one of the
Keanu.
few innocent figures in this movie.
vanquishes evil John Malkovich.
Oh, yeah.
And does what John Malkovich does not, and bones Glenn Close.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that is
Keanu
true.
is the winner, even if he's very sad at the end.
Oh, yeah, well.
And has cuts.
Oh, he's got a lot of lacerations.
But he's okay. They'll turn into scars, and then he'll be hot, and then he's like the music teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
And I'll sing it.
And he still gets to hang out with Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's now also been turned evil.
Uma, Keanu. Keanu.
Uma.
So we're now 38 minutes into this episode. Should I read the first paragraph of the plot summary
Sure.
to catch people up?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in pre-revolution Paris, the Marquise de Martyr.
You took French,
fuck,
dude.
this is
Yeah,
hard.
you
We're
took
not
French.
helping you
We're
this
off
time.
the hook.
The Marquise de Martyr plots revenge
Sounds
against her
good.
ex-lover, the
my ear.
Comte de Bastide, who has recently ended their relationship. That character never shows up in the film, right?
The Comte de Bastide?
Yeah.
I think he's in Dijon.
Yeah, that's right. You're talking Pfeiffer's husband, who we never see.
Right.
Yeah, we never see him.
To soothe her wounded pride and embarrass Bastide, she seeks to arrange the seduction and disgrace of his young virgin fiancé. It's
Uma's husband-to-be.
Uma's husband-to-be.
Right, who is
That's
only
it.
marrying her. This is so weird to me. Only really marrying her because of the fact that she was a virgin.
Right. She spent her youth in a convent.
Yeah.
And so the guy knows that her virtue is intact.
Yeah. And Glenn Close is like, you know what would really fuck this guy up?
Yeah.
If John Malkovich fucks him with Thurman so that she's not the one thing he cares about.
What
Right,
bad people.
I know.
So, to soothe her wounded pride and embarrass Bastide, she seeks to arrange the seduction and disgrace of his young virgin fiancée, Cécile de Volanges. Cécile de Volanges. Who has only recently been presented to society after spending her formative years in the shelter of a convent. I'll actually read the next paragraph.
Okay.
Martha. Oh, I can't even say that at all.
Sounds beautiful to my
Glenn
ears.
Close calls on the similarly unprincipled Vicomte de Valmont to do the deed. That's John Malkovich. Valmont declines as he is plotting a seduction of his own, Madame de Tourvel.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer. The wife of a member of parliament away in Corsica, who is currently a house guest of Valmont's aunt, Madame de Rosemonde. Amused and incredulous at Valmont's hubris in pursuing the chaste, devoutly religious Tourvel, Glenn Close ups the ante. If Valmont somehow succeeds in seducing Tourvel and can furnish written proof, Glenn Close will sleep with him as well. Never one to refuse a challenge, Valmont accepts. So basically this is a movie where John Malkovich is like, oh man, my ultimate goal is fucking Glenn Close.
Yeah.
And I will fuck everyone if it means I get to go there.
Yeah, and get
and
written
then
proof
he's
and
also
documentation.
and he destroys everything and himself on his quest to fuck Glenn Close.
And
he
he
has
just-
sex
and
with
he
like
fails.
ancillary characters as well, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's just a horny
He's like
dude.
just having sex also with other people.
But it's weird because his character is like quite literally infamous within his own social circles as the type of person to like destroy relationships and sleep
right,
around.
he shows up
He
and Michelle
prides
Pfeiffer is
himself
like,
in it.
yeah, no, I know who you are.
Yeah, like
But he
8
just-
people have told me about you.
But he just
before
takes
you
that as
even
a
came here.
challenge.
He does, and he does the bolder thing, which is just like he's like, all right, we got to play this game a little like longer than I used to have to. So it's like now you have to embrace the fact that he's a rake and a charlatan, and instead just like use that to his advantage somehow, while still seducing Michelle Pfeiffer, who plays a very, very pious, religious.
I mean,
character.
his strategy is pretty good. You know, with her, he's like, look, I'm a womanizer. This is what I do. I'm always just having casual sex, but I love you, and
Yeah.
I never love anybody.
I've
It's
never felt this
different.
way before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smart play.
Exactly. And you know what? It works.
He's a smart man.
Well, that's the thing. The other thing that they established pretty early on, first just based on like almost body language and just kind of like rapport, but then later definitively, is that like Glenn Close and John Malkovich had a thing
Oh, for a while, yeah.
for a while years back that fizzled out for reasons that are unclear. I don't know
Yeah.
if they really like explain.
I think
And,
they just
like-
know each other too well.
Yeah, they
But
just.
have
I think they just.
they ever slept together?
So that was what was unclear to me, too.
I don't think they have, because otherwise, why would it be so much of this goal? Because it seems like it's not that he wants to like have a relationship with her. He just wants this conquest, just to be able to say like, her, I
Yeah.
did that.
Finally.
Yeah, which
Despite
is
the
so-
fact that she's the one woman who truly knows the depths of my depravity. Like,
Right.
we understand each other so thoroughly about that. We understand that no actual relationship could exist between the two of us because we're both so despicable.
Yeah.
But I've never truly possessed like the devil's body, basically.
Yes.
And John Malkovich is also the devil in this case.
That is true. You're right. It's like the two worst people who like, to use a or like a contemporary turn of phrase, they both feel so seen with each other.
Yeah, it's kind of it's lovely in a really, really dark and terrible way.
But it means they can never love each other in the way that they enjoy corrupting and mastering. And they can never really achieve any sort of like proper relational intimacy because their whole lives are built around deceit, and they just really like respect and admire and like have a kind of infatuation for each other.
Yeah.
But as soon as like John Malkovich's character, which is like the start of his unraveling, feels, you know, the genuine article from somebody who's devoted to him,
it destabilizes him.
like he finally is on his back foot with all this philandering and like you know, lying and stuff, and that's what fucks him over and ends up having him die.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they both, they love each other in their like fucked up way. But it'll never be a good thing.
And all John Malkovich wants is to just get in there.
He just wants to slip into those DMs.
He wants to be close to Glenn
yeah.
Close. And she's just not having any of it because she, by the time we reach the end of the movie, you realize is playing the trickier game with him. You think they're equals for a lot of the movie. And there's a little bit of a back and forth rapport between them where you think, you know, oh, one person is slightly deceiving the other, but then the other catches wind. Like John Malkovich goes, you know, oh, I'm sorry, Glenn, I can't help you with this little plot to deflower Uma Thurman because I actually have my own conquest. And Glenn Close then sabotages his attempt so that he'll have to come back and at first help her before he can go back to his, you know, his personal conquest. So you go, okay, Glenn Close is like a little bit more of the upper hand here. But then John Malkovich figures out a way to like incorporate both of those into his own plans. And so you're like, okay, they're equals because he, you know, like they're playing each other a little bit. And Glenn Close is the one that ends with the position of power over the other one.
True. But it's like,
so game recognized game.
Truly, that's what the attraction is.
Yeah.
So I'm here. I'm reading about this movie on the internet. I'm about to make a very embarrassing confession.
Sure.
You've never taken French.
Well, I mean, my French pronunciation is really bad, and so that would not be a big surprise.
Yeah.
I just learned, like 30 seconds ago,
All right,
that the film Cruel Intentions is based on this. I had no idea. I've never seen Cruel Intentions.
I was watching this with my wife, Rachel, and she immediately was like, this has got to be based on Cruel Intentions. Or Cruel Intentions has to be based on this movie.
No, actually, time travel was involved.
you fucking idiot.
The author of Pierre Choderlos de Laclos traveled forward in time, saw the film Cruel Intentions, then traveled back to 1782.
Mon Dieu, this is so good. I love this.
Eureka!
Eureka. Yeah. Archimedes running.
But yeah, to the point where Ryan Phillippe's character in Cruel Intentions is named Sebastian Valmont.
Yeah.
And it is, it's pretty wild. Like, I'm looking at this now.
And he ran back to the 18th century France and tried to compose the song Bittersweet Symphony by The Verve.
Yeah.
And he just forgot it.
It drives me nuts that the only movie to ever feature Bittersweet Symphony is Cruel Intentions.
Yeah.
I'm like... Because
Verve got so fucked over by the lawsuit with the Rolling Stones. At that point, did they even hold like any sort of license to
Did you hear
to
they
market
finally
this
got
song?
the rights back? Like a month ago.
Oh, really?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. As in, like, finally they got like some lawyer manager to go to Mick Jagger and be like, hey, you know how like that song doesn't actually have anything that you wrote in it?
Yeah.
And then he was like,
Not funny.
I guess so.
No.
So have it back. I've already had all the millions that I've made on
I'm
it.
almost dead. It's all right.
It's all right.
Rain murder.
Yeah.
It's just a shadow. But yeah, so honestly, I mean, the Verve had no control over like where it was licensed, but it's just weird, especially because the Rolling Stones infamous manager, the guy who like, you know, like was able to basically steal the song and stuff like that, and was like known as like the greediest, most manipulative manager.
Honestly,
like
he
of
would
all
have
time.
fit right into 18th century French
Seriously.
royalty.
But-
he would have been Valmont in this film.
But he basically just like sold the song out for like so many commercials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it's only in one movie.
Dun 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 dun. Tampax. Or whatever.
It's a bunch of Nike stuff mostly.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But all I've seen of Cruel Intentions is the final scene, and I'm like, this song could like.
It could be used better.
It's fine, but like, give me a more iconic use.
Yeah, put it in Vanilla Sky. I swear to God, it would have been fucking awesome.
That's got a good
that movie.
soundtrack.
It does. It has a great soundtrack. They're not
it's a
lacking
Cameron
for a
Crowe movie.
soundtrack.
Like a notably good one, yeah.
Well, it's a Cameron Crowe movie. Even Cameron Crowe's worst movies have good soundtracks.
All right, guys. Alternate timeline. What movie, in retrospect, would have been the perfect movie to end on the song "Bittersweet Symphony" in the past? have
Okay,
ended.
wait. But
I
does
say The Favorite. No, I'm joking.
does it have
what
to have been
else?
made after the song came out?
No. Let's open it up.
Oh,
damn.
We can go back in
The
time.
Maltese Falcon.
Lawrence of Arabia.
He's walking across the Devil's Anvil. He's just like, dun, dun, dun.
And he's just bumping into people who disappear.
Blade Runner when Roy Batty dies.
Oh, you know what would be good? The scene in
He
not
was
just
he was a
movies.
slave to money, then he died.
Yeah.
What about
You see
freaking?
townhouse gates and then you fucking die.
What about the scene in Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater when he's going through the Ghost River?
Honestly,
That is a weird
that would be
reference,
good.
but that would be cool.
Hell yeah, dude!
Okay. That's not what my question was.
I fucking nailed it.
Yeah,
All right, bro.
listeners, tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
What honestly, this is a question that has haunted me for years.
The
Yeah.
new Mulan.
And no, the original Mulan.
Instead of Let's Get Down to Business, it's just Bittersweet. Just play that over the scenes that originally had that song in it.
Oh yeah,
That'd be pretty dope.
You just got like Mushu running around there. Dun, 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 dun,
Mushu.
dun.
It's fascinating. It's such an epic song.
I saw a drawing of Mushu with a huge cock one time. And he was steam bath bathing in a bowl of wonton soup.
Where did you see this picture?
Online.
Yeah, sure. All right.
Where else?
Do you want to further specify what
I
website
just
this
saw
is?
it online.
Man,
Dude,
that might be one of my favorite, like, just out of nowhere statements you've ever made. Anyway, this is all a long way of saying, yeah, Cruel Intentions, a film featuring the song Bittersweet Symphony based on this. And, like, Selma Blair's
Dangerous
character is
Liaisons.
named Cecile.
Interesting.
Yeah, she's based on Cecile Volange. Sarah Michelle Gellar is Glenn Close. Reese Witherspoon is Michelle Pfeiffer.
Who's Uma?
Selma Blair.
Who Uma?
Huma. Wait. Oh, shit. Swoosie Kurtz is in both of them.
No.
Swoosie?
I saw her names in the credits and her names. I saw her name in the credits, and I was like, Swoosie.
What the fuck is Swoosie?
I've never heard that name before.
Where does that name come from? That's nuts.
It's English, I think.
It's as hilarious as Imogen Poots.
I was just thinking about Imogen Poots.
I
when saw
love
that
Imogen
name.
Poots.
I mean, me too, but like that just taking the name in isolation.
It's a hilarious name.
Hilarious.
Yeah, but I think she's great.
It sounds like a book about a young girl farting.
Imogen Poots?
And
You want to know something funny?
And then Imogen Pooted.
I met Imogen Poots, by the way.
Wait.
And you know what
Stop.
You know what the interaction was? She asked me where the bathroom was.
What?
If everybody poots.
She was like,
Imogen, if you're listening, come on the show.
she came up to me and I was like, oh shit, I recognize her.
Where?
I was working PA on a movie.
Oh, Solitary
Solitary
Man
Man.
shot at Fordham University.
Yep. And she came up to me and she was like, do you know where the loo is? And I said, that way.
Speak English.
Yeah. I was like, in English, ma'am. I don't know
You
what
sound
you're
like you're
asking
from
me.
London.
And then she walked to the bathroom, and then it occurred to me in that moment, I was like, Poots.
Wait, did you know who she was at the time?
I was like, hey, good thing I pointed out where the bathroom was because she was going to poot her pants.
Nice, dude.
And then you said that to her when she came back, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, what?
And she was like, what are you saying? And then I threw up and my pants fell down for some reason. Everything went wrong so quickly.
And then Michael Douglas was also there.
Yeah. Michael Douglas was also there, as well as Jesse Eisenberg.
Michael Douglas is actually the guy. This will make sense.
Yeah.
Was in Fatal Attraction.
Yes, with Glenn Close. And I think of them similarly in terms of people I've only ever seen middle-aged or older. In my head, they were never young people.
Well, it's kind of true. Like some people just are born with the features where they're just wearing the face they should have at 48 or whatever to 50, and they're
yeah.
like 23 years
Yeah.
old.
It's true.
But also, some of these people, like, a lot of actors become famous when they're like in their 20s or something like that.
Right.
These people did not really like become very famous
Until they
until
were
like
older.
like at least their mid 30s or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Glenn Close, wasn't in movies before the age of 30.
Yeah.
And her most famous movies came in her late 30s onward.
Right.
Right.
So we just I genuinely don't know what she looks like as like a young woman.
Yeah,
And
it's a
the thing that-
travesty
but,
because
like-
she's such a good actress.
Right, and like Michael Douglas, I mean, she's had a very good career. She's
No,
doing
I know.
fine.
I'm not.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm not trying to throw pity on
And
it.
same,
or
same thing, like
sympathy.
Michael Douglas, like
Yeah.
kind of struggled for a long time to get leading roles in movies, and it
know.
wasn't until he was like, late 30s or so that it actually happened.
Kirk
Despite
Douglas
his-
seems like the type of guy that was like, "You're not getting by through nepotism, boy." Like he was like that dad that was
Right.
probably like, "Dad, you have the biggest connections in Hollywood. Please just put me in a movie." And he was like, "Nope,
No.
go to auditions."
I mean, you also know the weird thing with Michael Douglas is
can't
that because
do-
he was on TV for a long time, he was trying to break out of TV and get moved to movies, was having a tough time with that. But he was producing a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like he won an Oscar for producing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
No, really?
Yeah.
Michael Douglas
Yeah,
produced that?
he produced
Wow.
it. Yeah,
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
Danny DeVito.
In barely a role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito's
I
limoncello. It's a taste of light from this famous fellow.
I don't know what that song is, but I like it. I like
actually,
your Danny
by the way,
DeVito song.
Michael Douglas pretty much wasn't like having lead roles in movies until 40.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, because he was born in 44.
Late bloomer.
Oh boy.
I feel like reading that review at the beginning of this episode just kind of like affected our minds. And so now we're like determined to just piss off that one guy who quit the
Who's
podcast.
obviously not listening even as we
He
speak.
quit the first episode 45 minutes in.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. So
Someone's
he's
a
long
quitter.
gone. He hit the road, Jack. Let's keep talking.
Yeah.
What else about Dangerous Liaisons?
So I just to reiterate, I guess, a point I made earlier, though. I think, like, therefore, the age difference being literal to basically their ages makes a lot of sense. Glenn Close's character has a couple more years of experience manipulating people and being a sociopath. I mean, neither of them are sociopaths so much as, like, I don't know if the novel, because you know how there are all those like social novels about like Victorian England and that whole era across different
Honestly,
countries.
this reminded me a little bit of Jane Austen novels.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Just in the way that these people, they kind of exist to just like, they'll go and visit one manor for a while, and there'll be several people just staying at a house, and then they'll move on to like another home, and they just don't really, they don't have to do jobs.
When does Downton Abbey take place?
Much later.
The early 20th century.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Okay.
Much later and in England.
Yeah, because season 2 of Downton Abbey is set during World War One.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And guys,
Fuck,
you see
you
you
failed.
see the trailer for the Downton Abbey movie.
The movie that's
and, then,
coming
and
out.
that part where they call Mr. Carson and he says, "I'll be there in the morning." And then you have the dramatic shot of Mr. Carson walking up the driveway.
I could
Remember
not care,
that?
I could not care less about
Yeah,
anything.
guys,
it left no impression on me.
I quit Downton Abbey after season 3. I'm not going to see the movie. The first season, very good.
Perfect.
Second season, off the rails.
Good or bad?
No. It's
Bad.
I mean, I can see how it's entertaining, but it's
Yeah.
not good in the way the first season was good.
Yeah.
The first season is good in the way that like Jane Austen stuff is good, where it's like it's all very subtle. Everyone is very repressed. So someone simply like admitting feelings is like a huge moment that they take like 8 episodes to build to.
Yeah.
Season 2, it basically becomes like period British Riverdale.
Right. Everyone's fucking and sucking.
Where it's like just crazy stuff happening. It's like, oh my god, this person, like who's all like bandaged because of the war, turns out to be like the long lost relative of someone. Oh my god, he lost the ability to use his legs in the war, but suddenly he can miraculously walk again. Oh my god, one of the major characters just got like pneumonia and dies in one episode.
Yeah. I mean,
Affairs happening everywhere.
I never saw that show, but it just started to make me laugh because, I knew people that watched it, and I would catch like a couple scenes every now and then if somebody had it on TV.
just a maid looking through a keyhole or something.
Seriously,
Ooh.
the amount of time people would walk past doors, closed doors, and then you would see their eyes slightly lit by light pouring through the crack of the door, and just that's how everybody got their news. People found out all kinds of shit just by happenstance walking past a door frame.
Okay,
It was
but
annoying.
this ties into what I'm just trying to say, which is
Yeah.
is more, in a very loose sense, the content of that.
Also, I just want to say, the only way I'll ever think of Downton Abbey now, I don't know if you guys ever saw the SNL sketch that was just a Spike TV promo for Downton Abbey. No. They call it Fancy Entourage.
Oh, yeah, no, I did see that.
And that is just my mental image of the show now.
That is true.
Oh, who's the turtle of Downton Abbey then? You know?
I mean, do you really want me to answer that question?
No.
Do you have an answer?
Just
Say it to anybody here that's listening that's also a Downton Abbey fan.
Bobby Moynihan.
Yeah.
He's not on Downton Abbey.
No, but he's in SNL.
No, the SNL sketch it's just like a promo, so it only edits like existing footage.
Oh.
And but then just talks about it with a cool voiceover like this.
Okay.
Talks about like the Dowager. She's always dissing everybody. Anyway, Downton Abbey, I could go down a long rabbit hole about that. And the thing is, it's hard to say who was the turtle of any show because the thing about Entourage is that none of those characters has a clearly defined type, and like their role in terms of like really their dynamic in the group changes so often that it's very inconsistent. There's a Community episode where Abed complains about this, about how like you can't really say someone is like the E or the turtle or the drama or the Vince because they're so poorly defined.
They're too amorphous a character in order.
Right. It's like Entourage, do one simple thing. Give us 4 very clear, distinct character types so that each one fills a specific role, and you can't even do that. I've seen every episode of Entourage. It's my greatest shame.
That's fucked up, dude.
I'm glad you're confessing it here at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've contracted some form of mental illness.
We have said that this podcast is like a confessional for us.
Yeah. And the priest is all of you.
Yeah.
One time, my ex-girlfriend... stopped E from Entourage, whatever his name is, from
Kevin Connolly, director of the film Gotti,
from drunk driving.
Wait, what?
She was like in LA for like after college, and she like was out, and then she was like outside, and Kevin Connolly, what's his name?
That's
Kevin
it.
Connolly, yeah.
He came
Director
out
of Gotti,
and he was like blackout, and he was just like sort of like jangling his keys, and he's like, Hey you,
Where's my car?
Is this a good, should I be driving or should I get a cab? And she was like, you should get a cab. And he was like,
God.
yeah, you know what? That's 100% right. And then he got a like Uber.
Oh my God.
Damn.
Yeah.
She saved the day then.
Just think, if she hadn't said anything, he might have died and the film Gotti would never exist.
Oh no.
Yeah. So did she save?
Yeah, so did she do a good thing or a horrible thing?
Was Entourage still on the air at the time?
God, I mean, I remember like because we went to Fordham, so all the Guido kids on our fucking floor loved that shit.
Hey Matt, I went to Oberlin and like all my friends still watched Entourage.
Yeah.
I think because we were just desperate for anything about the film industry.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
you take what you can get,
at that time,
right?
If what you get is something loosely based off of Mark Wahlberg's life, then go for it.
Hey, then you know what? You get what you get and you don't get upset.
Yeah, you're like, oh, it's about the film industry, but all the characters just seem to be going into cryo chambers at 3 a.m. I don't understand what this show is. They play golf for half an hour and then have a 30-hour snack time.
Someone's named Johnny Drama. I guess that's okay.
And he's starring on a cartoon named Johnny's Bananas with Andrew Dice Clay.
I suppose this is acceptable to me.
Oh, Andrew Dice Clay.
The only point I was trying to make.
Go for it.
It's now I'm trying to stay on track, okay?
You're the
we can't let these people down.
Now it's like Entourage. We no longer have clearly defined roles. You've become the Patrick of the podcast.
Oh no.
Who am I? The Jake?
Oh, whoa, the Jaker.
The Jet? Am I just a blending of Matt and Jake?
I can't deal with your life. I couldn't take it back. Take it back.
No. This is you now.
I quite like my new role.
Hey guys,
why don't I keep it?
Anyway, here, let me list off a couple of the ways in which the release dates of random things that I've committed to memory.
Wow, that fizzled so fast.
I can't do it.
He's too fast.
He's too fast. His technology is
His
too
retrieval
advanced.
of facts is too quick.
I was just trying to say social satire. All I was trying to say. It's fucking social satire is all we're dealing with.
See how it feels? How do you like it?
Fuck, it sucks, dude. I'm sweating. My belly is sweating only. Just for some
Bunch
reason.
of water squirting out of my belly button.
My
for
belly
no
button
reason.
has a half a cup of water in it, just sloshing around.
Social satire?
Yes. What?
Yeah. So like, to have been written by someone at the time critiquing probably the whatever the society is like Jane Eyre or like who are other people?
So Jane Eyre was a
Balzac?
Bronte sister
Hello.
novel.
Honoré de Balzac.
Was it?
Yeah, Jane Eyre was from one of the Bronte sisters.
What did Evelyn Waugh write?
She wrote? Wuthering Heights was another Bronte
Also,
sister.
Evelyn Waugh was a man.
Evelyn Waugh was a
you're
man.
right. Sorry.
Remember the line in
Lost in Translation?
Yeah.
That's
Evelyn
literally
Waugh.
how I
that
remember
line,
that
but-
piece of
No,
information.
Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre are two different Bronte sisters.
Yes.
You're right.
And
Who wrote Lady Chatterley's Lover?
Evelyn Waugh wrote
That's a good
Brideshead
point.
Revisited.
Yes, Brideshead
What about
Revisited?
March?
isn't that
George Eliot?
I don't know.
Fuck, dude.
Wait. It is. You're right, George Eliot.
Hell yeah.
English major. You were right.
Who wrote the White and the Black?
I don't know.
Hold on, but not Proudhon.
Don't give you a hint. I don't know.
That's like the anarchist guy.
It's okay.
I don't know. Bartender. I don't know. Who is it?
The White and the Black?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean The White and the Black Bride?
No.
Can I say something about the
Matt,
movie
I think
Dangerous Liaisons?
you have the title wrong. The White and the Black, the only Wikipedia entry for it is a Latvian painting.
Shit.
Are you sure it's The White and the Black?
No, I don't know. All I'm saying is these social critics of this one period who basically are all bemoaning the fact that it's highly repressive and creates this need for people to be, duplicitous and use subterfuge to that's where you get all of the Freudian analysis of repressive, tendencies, which came, later than the time frame we're talking about now, but still it's all reverberations of a similar issue. And so in this movie, Malkovich and Close are symptoms, right? I would assume that's what the
Right.
They're
because
the
they're
application
tragic
of-
figures in a way. They enact a tragedy by the end of the film. Both of them are not happy. Both of them have essentially, one has lost their life, the other has basically had her life ruined.
She
even
gets
though they're
booed at the opera.
She gets booed.
Yeah,
what's
what's
worse than that?
And she's not even performing at the opera. She's just attending.
I know, that was such a
Imagine,
weird scene.
Imagine going to the movies and just getting booed by the crowd.
Anna Karenina
Yeah.
was kind of like this too, right?
No. Get out of here. You can't watch Daddy's Home 2 with the rest of us.
Not
Get
funny.
Out. Boo. Do you want to know something funny about the original novel that I learned was that Close's character actually gets off pretty easy in the movie.
Dude, nice.
Compared to...
Sorry. I walked into that one. Okay, that's fine. She does by Keanu Reeves.
who we have to talk about.
Yeah, we will talk about him. He can't do an accent, but I also have mixed feelings about whether or not that's important because Malkovich doesn't do an accent the entire movie and he's amazing.
No one does.
We'll get to that,
Yeah.
but continue.
So her character in the original source text, the novel, it's we're talking about the morality of this movie, and the author, you could tell, was somebody who at least had his compass pointed a lot more strongly in that direction because he gives everybody their most profound comeuppance by the time the book's over. So obviously Malkovich's character in the novel dies, right, with the duel. But Glenn Close's character, as opposed to getting booed at the opera, God forbid, and then having to go home, she not only is completely destroyed by the death of Malkovich's character and the pain everyone has caused, but then she contracts syphilis, becomes a complete social pariah, loses all of her money,
And then her teeth.
yeah, every single tooth falls out except her one front tooth.
So she looks like
Chomper.
Patrick Starr in that one moment.
She looks like Patrick Starr when he's pretending to be Pinhead in an episode of SpongeBob. And then, but then what's so funny? This actually made me laugh because Hampton, the screenwriter, was talking about the novel, and he says even at the end of the book, though, when all this stuff happens to her, there's a footnote at the end of the last chapter where the author goes and. Not only syphilis and financial destitution and becoming a societal pariah, but plenty of other stuff, horrible stuff that I can't even mention here in this book.
Jesus.
That's how he ends the whole novel.
Right.
It's she just is utterly destroyed, from everything that she's done, as if some sort of karmic imbalance, which had been floating in the air for a while, finally returned to pay her a
that's
favor.
more like Victorian. I don't know what it is, but that was like the morality of the time. Was like, like you said, it wasn't karma because isn't that like an Eastern thing? But like,
yeah,
it was like
I'm
the
throwing
Victorian.
karma out
There's like
for-
the wheel of existence or whatever, and it's like, yeah, things balance out.
Yeah, this is one of those, I guess, genres or like areas of literature or fiction that I wish I was more well versed in, because I feel like there is a lot of stuff that is sort of similar. That's just about the like, you know, the fun or exciting or romantic, you know, just like, you know, adventures and exploits of the aristocracy, kind of almost like celebrating them and just, you know, romanticizing the idea of them. And this is seems like a fairly scathing indictment of them.
Yep.
And just like these people are so well off and have so little to worry about that like all they do for pleasure is ruin the lives of everyone around them.
Nothing at this point entertains them.
Doesn't Glenn Close in the description of her genesis into like the horrific monster she is say amongst the list, she goes, and I used novels to figure out what I could get away with. So like novels are like referenced because I remember like at that time, you know, this is all like bungled history because I don't know shit, but like, you know, as the proto narrative like bit of like entertainment, novels like preceded films as like a way to do like schlocky, like, you know, to like sneak in, you know, racy shit that like bored rich people could have the time to read and enjoy on that level. And
there's
like,
a term for it too. I know exactly what you're talking about. There was a full subgenre of books similar to how we look at like airport books or beach reading or dime store novels.
Yes.
Where it like
it's
the
not Penny
literature
Dreadful, is it?
It's not Penny Dreadful because those were like horror and macabre books of like
right.
spookiness and ooky
Right.
stuff.
You're right.
But like there was like a subgenre of novels written at the time that was specifically designed for it was targeting a market demographic.
Right.
And the market demographic was like rich
Parlor
stay-at-home
people.
women
Yeah.
though specifically who were like consigned to stay in the house all day.
Right.
And so had nothing better to do than to just idle about and read.
But
And
they
so
were
there all these
considered
books.
a vector of moral infection. Like they were considered a way in which people learn about things that ruin them morally.
Yeah.
So it does have a tie-in to like the movie in a weird way because you don't because you're not entirely unsympathetic when Glenn Close gives her big speech about why she is the way she is. Like that is her definitive moment to sort of describe, because gender politics is like, you know, insofar as it has that meaning in the late 1700s, like is a big part of this. Like she's like, I'm a woman, like. The first time I was ever told that my role was to like shut up and listen, I was like, fuck that. I'm going to learn how to manipulate people. I'm going to like grab all the things. I realized that like now that I could be quiet, I could spy essentially and just like just synthesize information about human behavior and learn how to become the perfect weapon to get what I want and fuck everyone else over.
Yeah.
So
she's
like
the Joker of the movie.
you drop
a woman in 18th century French society and you get a damaged woman who's
and
a
if
straight
you
up
put
Joker of the
makeup
movie.
on Glenn Close, it would look legit.
Well, there is the point when she comes back from the opera, and you just hit the close-up.
She's wiping the makeup
of her
off.
wiping the makeup off herself. Okay,
The best ending to the movie.
Fans of the podcast, listeners, if anyone is good at Photoshop, please take Glenn Close in Dangerous Liaisons and turn her into the Joker.
Literally the last shot of the movie.
Yeah,
That would be very good.
really good shot.
Can I say something about the last shot too? Just
I'll
another
allow
thing.
it.
You'll allow it? Thank you. Just another thing I learned from listening to the Frears interview and stuff. Originally, what they wanted to do at the end of the book was have her get booed from the opera house, and then it would sort of fade to black, and they would cut to just an actual line from the novel. And the line, I have it sort of written down. Just 'cause I
Thank you
wanted to
for doing
remember
more
it. Yeah.
research than Matt or I combined.
Yeah.
The line was essentially, you know, ... And from then on, her soul was written on her face for the rest of her life, or something like that, right? So it was like a cool line that they liked, but they showed the script to Glenn Close, and she was like, instead of having the line, let me act it. And so they just, like, in an hour, just brought her into a corner of the room and put the camera in close-up on her, and she was like, I'll just do the fucking line right now.
Her Glenn Close-up?
Her Glenn Close-up, and she fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just another testament to how great she is in this.
Big
movie.
big ups to Glenn.
Another moment that Matt and I rewound while watching, because I didn't even notice it the first time, is the moment when she is stepping out of the carriage.
This is like the iconic also shot of the film when they like advertised it.
Right, which I didn't know, but I totally understand, where she is stepping out of this carriage, arriving. Which house is she arriving at?
The Valmont's aunt's house.
I think, yeah.
But so she has this big hat on, and she
Right.
has her head down. You can see she has a big smile across her face.
Yeah.
And then as she lifts
It's
her
so
head
good.
up, the smile just turns into a look of like sort of like sadness and sympathy.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
concern.
so good.
It's so good.
Yeah, really, really nice work.
She does that a couple times too. Like there's the other time when she's like had a fight with John Malkovich, and she's like almost gonna cry, and then you see it turn into a smile. Like there's a couple moments where she like gets control, and that's the whole thing too. Is like these people are trying to master their emotions in these ways that are deceitful, and it ends up poisoning them.
Boys, brothers, tea, Brorpies.
Yes, Thick
Yes.
Willems?
Wait,
Pro?
I should stop saying Brorpies. I don't want to make that a thing. That's disgusting.
What, Daddy P, what are you asking us?
Well, Lil J.
Yes.
So we should talk about our dude, Keanu. By the way,
Our most excellent dude.
our most excellent dude. One thing that I've been trying to do, because we spent so long in our previous podcast talking about Josh Hartnett, referring to him as our boy, Josh.
Yeah.
I've been trying to call Keanu our dude
He is our dude.
to differentiate them.
Sure. Okay.
I like it.
Our
I
boy
like
is Josh,
it.
our dude is Keanu.
Okay. Nice.
Okay.
Good to draw those lines in the sand now.
Yeah, that said, if anyone has any different ideas, throw them at me.
Right.
Shout
We
him out.
May or may not listen. As with everything.
Oh, no, I was talking to you two. I don't care what anyone else says.
No, I
Okay.
like our dude. I think that's great.
Okay. But we should talk about Keanu, because this is a huge movie for Keanu. This is his first period piece.
Yes,
this
it is.
This is the most prestigious film he's been in.
Yeah.
This is a goddamn Academy Award winner.
Yeah.
Nominated for Best Picture. Actually, can I just talk about how this movie did at the Oscars?
Sure.
Because
Yeah,
it did
I don't know.
well. Nominated
sweep 'em?
for no. Nominated for 7 Academy Awards, and it won 3.
Nice. What were the 3?
It won Adapted Screenplay, Christopher
Okay.
Hampton adapting his own play, which really is a
Seems
bit
like
of
a hack,
cheat.
yeah.
It's like, you know.
Is it really just original? No.
Exactly.
It's not.
Best Costume Design
Okay, fair.
and
That's
Best
fine.
Art Direction.
You can't not get best costume design as soon as you get into 18th century France.
I mean,
you're just like, all
that's
right,
classic
let's
Oscar
just
stuff.
give
It's
it
like,
to them.
oh, it's a period piece. Oh, people are wearing frilly clothing. Great,
Yeah.
give it an Oscar. Oh, they're in ornate rooms. Great,
Yeah.
give it an Oscar.
Yeah, it's costume design, set design. It's all gonna have
No-brainer.
those
To be fair,
awards.
it's good. I mean,
It's great.
The costumes. I mean, John Malkovich's cuffs on
Beautiful.
his shirts.
His Austin
insane.
Powers cuffs.
Oh my
They're
god.
the opening montage is them getting ready in the morning, and it is very funny.
What I really like
I think
about
the first thing you see is his hand within cuffed.
What's cool about that opening
pajamas.
montage is cross-cutting between Glenn Close and John Malkovich. You don't see Malkovich's face
a
clearly
long time.
for a while. There's one point you see, the first time you see it, it's all in shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really wait a while. Like you see just like everything that covers him before you see like the real him.
It's
Yeah.
such a good first statement, though. Like, I mean, obviously there's a healthy amount of just sort of disgust in the film baked in of these people's lifestyle and overall demeanor and outlook that is just so layered on thick right at the start, because
Yeah.
John Malkovich's sort of limp-wristed hand just comes up and lazily just sort of searches for the hot towel or whatever
Yeah.
that all his servants are handing him before he wakes up.
Where's my
Meanwhile,
freshly squeezed pineapple juice?
also, my favorite aspect of that time period was the wig stuff where they powder them.
Oh,
so you have to
yeah.
put on that kind of like plague mask, that cone
I love it.
that you have to do to
Oh,
protect your
yeah.
face while they like use billows to like spray like white powder all over you so you don't get it in your eyes and mouth and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Glenn Close is just
The
being
original
cinched
deodorant.
into a massive corset
Yep.
And just everyone's tits are all the women's tits are just like of that era, just like mashed up,
pressed up way higher.
Just like big half circles.
Yeah,
like
just up to their necks.
Exactly.
It just looks so awful.
Right. It's I've got to say, but just looking at the Oscar nominations, so it got nominated but did not win for Best Picture, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, Glenn Close, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Best Original Score. For almost every awards show, Malkovich got totally left out, completely snubbed.
Interesting.
Yeah, like the BAFTA Awards, it got even more nominations. Still, nothing for Malkovich.
That's
and like
interesting,
Glenn
yeah.
Close, I totally get, but I would think in terms of the stand-up performances, like I think Malkovich like steals a lot of the movie.
Yeah.
And
he's given a little more to do. I don't think it's a totally fairly balanced film as far as those two principal characters and both of them enacting their own, acts of social intrigue. I think Malkovich gets more screen time. And
I mean, he's the lead of the movie.
Yeah.
But I'm just a little bit surprised, by the fact that really nothing for John Malkovich, because I think he's great in this movie.
Yeah, me too.
Again, he plays someone who is utterly loathsome, but that I want to keep watching him.
Yeah, 100%. You know the only person I feel mixed about? Our dude. Sorry.
We got to talk about Keanu.
We got to talk about Keanu.
So this is the thing about Keanu. This is like he's been playing teens. He's been playing teens in like modern day set movies. A lot of them like in California. He's been playing a lot of like goofy kind of like long-haired guys who are just like easygoing and fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes like in River's Edge, they're like a little tormented.
Yeah.
But he's been doing a specific kind of thing for most of these movies, and this is a massive leap. It's a small role. I mean, he's
very, very small.
Yeah.
That's what I will say is that his however much or not he fits into the film, and however much you do or don't like his performance, there's too little of it to really create an impact. So like, I don't feel strongly one way or the other. He didn't derail or ruin anything.
No, not at all.
Also,
he's just a little bit. He's as bewildered and wide-eyed as his character in a way that's like not super. I don't know. It's just
not compelling compared to every other single character that you're given in this movie, including Uma Thurman, who is probably next to Keanu the female equivalent of a supporting actress within that movie, as far as the types of roles that they play. And Uma Thurman herself, too, though, takes her role and knocks it out of the park as well.
Also,
in a way that Keanu leaves much less distinct an impression.
But Uma Thurman gets like an arc, which is
she does have an arc. Yeah,
is like Uma Thurman gets this kind of fucked up traumatic arc where she comes out of this convent education. She is essentially raped by John Malkovich's character, but in this way where she's almost like groomed by Glenn Close.
Well, that's the thing. He shows up in her bedroom.
Yeah.
She sort of resists, and he overpowers her resistance. And then Glenn Close shows up and is like, "Oh no, this is good. He'll teach you important stuff.
Right.
You'll learn music from Keanu," because Keanu is also like not as like upper class and wealthy as the rest of them.
You're right.
So she's like, "You'll learn music from him, and then you will learn
the art of seduction and sex from Mr. Malkovich."
Yeah. And she just is like, "Oh no, just keep going along with it."
But Uma learns
and as soon as she's told that, she's completely relaxes, and she suddenly is like, "No, this is good." Whereas before she was like deeply ashamed, which again, like it's so conflicting because like part of probably the critique is like, you feel horribly ashamed because you're ashamed of like your body. You know what I mean? Like certain things that we would consider like liberally now, but like, no, she was raped by an adult, and then like slowly is sort of brainwashed almost into regarding it as this like learning good, necessary step in her
the movie leaves it a
education.
little ambiguous too, in that like it does suggest that like when Glenn Close is talking to Uma Thurman right after that, and she's traumatized and looking for someone to confide in, Uma Thurman goes, "Okay, you can learn your scales on the piano from Mr. Reeves over here, and Mr. Malkovich will teach you all kinds of other sexual things, and it's fine. You can have as many partners as you like." I feel I was conflicted. I didn't know whether or not the movie was trying to suggest, based on Uma's reaction to Glenn Close's speech, whether or not Glenn Close, it wasn't that Glenn Close's speech was giving her license to like relax about something, as much as it seemed like, and this is given away by like Uma's expression after Glenn Close does a speech, that Glenn Close is giving her license to embrace something that was within her in the first place, which is that she actually, in some strange and perverse way, actually enjoys and was looking for the like a ability to accept the fact that on some level she liked what was going on,
which is like
a really creepy arc to her character,
like repression, like removing because there's all these like the whole thing is like everyone who had a religious background is like released from that, but then punished. But like there is a sense of relief in a way, and Uma Thurman's character ends up basically, what I'm trying to say is like into it, like she's into it by the end of it.
But her and Keanu Reeves both have mirrored roles in that Keanu himself is also seduced by Glenn Close by the time you get to the end of the movie.
Right. But as a male, he's like way less guilty about it. He's just doing that.
He's just kind of dopey.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, this is great.
You know, honestly, the thing with Keanu that I thought every time he showed up is, to use a term that we used a lot in Permanent Record, he's a goober.
He is a goober, yeah.
Yeah, he's just
a
kind
goofy
of
goober.
He's this witless dope that just kind of like is polite and tries to be nice to everybody and is just taken advantage of. And people say like, "Do this," and he'll be like, "Oh, okay."
He's very sensitive about opera.
Yeah. Also, there is we'll post this on our Twitter, but there is a really wonderful clip of Keanu teaching Uma Thurman music. They're both singing together. She's playing the harp. He's playing, is it the piano?
Piano.
Yeah. And it's real funny.
Keanu Reeves.
Oh, he's singing in falsetto during this time, and he's just like, "You're doing your lessons." But it's Keanu doing that. It's great.
Yeah. So I've got to say, going into this, I was nervous because I hadn't seen this movie before. Had you two both seen this movie before?
A long time. It's been a while.
Yeah, I'd seen it a couple times.
So I never had, but we're all familiar with and aware of the reputation of Keanu's performance in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Right.
Which is where he's playing Jonathan Harker. He's doing an English accent. He's struggling. He seems uncomfortable and out of place.
Yeah.
That is pointed to as like one of his, like when people, for years would talk about like, oh, Keanu Reeves, he's a bad wooden actor. They would be like, Dracula. There's the proof. And so going into this, I was like, oh man, this is a period drama.
Yep.
And I assumed, because of the long tradition of any period piece set in Europe tends to just be like, oh, but they'll just have English accents. Like everyone is English. And so I assumed this would be one of those cases where everyone has an English accent.
Nope.
Not the case.
Thankfully.
Pretty much people just speak with their own accents.
Yeah.
That is it. Peter Capaldi, who's there as a guy who works for John Malkovich, and John Malkovich is just like assigned that. He just like seduce that maid, just start having sex with her, and then like get her to like collect letters so I can see them.
Yeah.
But Peter Capaldi, thick Scottish accent. Everyone else, they're speaking the language that is appropriate. Just in terms of like, they speak in ornate.
It's properness and it's
ornate, proper grammar, but everyone uses their regular accents.
There's like a tinge in all of their accents, though. You can tell they're like, it's like if they were trying to meet the English accent like 10% of the way or something.
Right.
They're all acting like you would imagine Shakespearean theater actors, but like in a small town.
But it seems kind of right because they are these people who are probably like trained to speak a certain way because of course it's what is expected of them in the society.
In a way, it's a comedy of manners, as they say, and the subversion of said manners.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. But this is all a long way of saying I was so relieved that Keanu is not going to have to struggle his way through an English accent.
The thing is, he, more than any of the other actors, tries to do the English accent compared to Michelle Pfeiffer, compared to Glenn Close.
I don't think he's doing an English accent. I think he's just trying to
it's
put
just
on a
his
bit
voice.
more of like a more sort of like proper aristocratic voice.
But madame, I don't know. Maybe like
But he's not saying
the pentatonic scales this time.
But I feel like if you were trying to do an English accent, he would be like, "But madame, I don't know."
Yeah.
He's not doing that. And again, I think the thing with Keanu is he just, especially at this point in his career, has this inherently modern vibe about him, and we're so used to seeing him. He's not an actor who transforms in these different roles.
No.
And so it's just the fact that we're so used to him as a California teenager.
I was watching this movie and just I started like imagining all of these behind the scenes moments where Frears is just like almost pulling his hair out in frustration, trying to get Keanu to not bounce into every room that he's going into. And he's just like, you have a bounce to your step, Keanu. You don't think you're doing it. I understand you don't think you're doing it, but you're doing it. Every time you walk into the fucking room with the fucking wig on, you're bouncing in and your wig falls off. And he's just like, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I know Keanu's got the hair, but I could just see him because, like every movie we've been watching previous to this one, there's some kind of like goofy, bouncy energy to him. Even in River's Edge, he's just kind of bouncy and goofy.
And the thing is, in this role, I don't think it's out of place. He is, once again, a kind of like naive, witless guy.
He's also lower class, uncomfortable,
true.
Untrained, probably except through necessity in speaking like these people.
And he just wants to like impress everybody and make them all like him.
Yeah.
And
Right.
like he has no he's not scheming. He has no great motive. He's just trying to like do the right thing.
Yeah.
And again, that's why I think like the part with when they reveal that Glenn Close has like seduced him. That's the thing where I bet she was just like, yeah, Keanu, come to my bedroom and you're gonna do this now. And he was just like, oh, okay, if that's what you think I should do, yeah, certainly.
Certainly.
Yeah, no, of course, madame, of course.
Whoa. Wow, Glenn Close, you're naked.
Chow down? Okay. Whoa. Beer.
I don't think I think his performance is actually fine in this movie.
It's fine. I agree.
I think the fact that it is just that we know it's Keanu Reeves that we're looking at makes it inherently somewhat funny. His mere presence is just like the baggage he brings in. That's the only thing that's like a little bit distracting.
You know what is not a
especially in
fair
hindsight,
comparison, but I still thought of when it happened was just Brad Pitt in 12 Years a Slave.
What do you mean?
And how, despite the like severe, just, like horrific tone of that film, I still chuckled when Brad Pitt came in as like a priestly, religious savior figure.
Oh yeah, right at the end of that movie when he shows up.
Because Brad Pitt is another one of these folks who like, you can't like stamp out some manner of speaking that is so modern.
Don't give him an accent
that you just cannot.
Unless it's Snatch.
Yeah, and then
somehow
he nails
why does
it
he
in
crush
Snatch.
that
He just
one?
does that
Like,
accent
and I gotta
beautifully.
say, having interacted with those people in Ireland, it's like scarily spot on.
Man.
Wow,
It's
good
real
for
good.
him. He just nailed
He
it.
found it.
I will say, our dude Keanu,
Yeah.
a lot like our boy Josh, better off without an accent.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
Probably
it's going
shouldn't
to be
doing
true
voices. Yeah, there's something
through his career.
like you said, inherently modern about him.
Right,
Like
and I think that goes for Brad Pitt also.
Yeah,
right.
And I mean, there's his infamous 12 years. I mean, not
30,
12, 7 years in Tibet.
7 years in Tibet.
And
yeah. God damn, I did see that movie. Everything is said negatively about it is true.
That's
that
funny. I
accent
haven't
is
seen it.
fucked up bad. It is so atrocious, man.
I'm just wondering now, is
It's
there...
so long, that movie too.
oh god,
And he's in all of it.
Is it 7 years long?
he's like the
Might
main
as well
freaking
be.
character.
You can't fucking sing a single word without sounding so stupid.
I've got to say, that is the risk you take when you call your movie... When you title your movie with a long amount of time, because it's like, if your movie isn't good, you are just setting yourself up for all these like quippy reviews.
You know what? He did a better
Yeah,
accent.
the movie felt like 7 years in purgatory.
You know what accent he did better somehow?
What?
The Jamaican one in Meet Joe Black.
Wait, he does a Jamaican accent in that movie?
he did that better, and then he did freaking German or whatever he was trying to do in that movie. Anyway,
Man.
It's a weird one. And but
So,
yeah,
yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like, we just kind of inherently don't buy Brad Pitt with most accents, especially if it's a period piece.
Right.
But Keanu, it's funny because like the casting is fairly impeccable in this. I like the subversion of Michelle Pfeiffer, who normally I believe plays like the seductress or like some sort of femme fatale. Like she has more of that kind of
edge to her. Yeah, I agree.
Right. There's
I
like
agree.
they don't usually use like this. She's not usually so innocent as she is in this movie.
But
she's great.
But she's amazing. Like she does really well.
She arguably gets the most difficult role in the film as well.
Yeah,
considering the
potentially
the different,
thankless role too, like of just like being...
thankless because she gets none of the good juicy lines.
Yeah, we already set people
Oh,
up.
it makes
we
me
already
want to throw up. Thankless.
Yeah, that
because
sucks.
Did that make it into the episode, or was that in the part that wasn't recorded?
I don't know.
I don't
Look,
know.
me and Matt say the word thanks like thanks.
like the
Yeah, the.
Oh, by the
So-
way, thought of another kind of like awkward period Brad Pitt thing. I really like the movie. I think he is the weak link in Interview with the Vampire.
Right.
Where he's playing Louis.
he has the beauty necessary
Right.
to play one of those characters.
he's so
nothing
beautiful.
else.
Yeah, Tom Cruise killing it in that movie.
So good.
I think one of
Murdering.
his best performances. And Brad
Fucking murdering.
literally.
He's so good in that movie.
Yeah,
And Brad Pitt looks very uncomfortable and awkward the whole time.
he does.
Yeah.
He looks like he wants to gag on his fake teeth.
Now here's the thing, though. This is you can compare this to Dangerous Liaisons and Pfeiffer's role too. There is something that feels a little bit like cheating, and this is just to give a little bit of credit to the characters that play the straight man role. Tom Cruise gets the juiciest, most fun lines of that movie, kind of like how Malkovich and Close do.
In Interview with the Vampire?
In Interview with the Vampire.
mean, again, Tom Cruise in Interview with the Vampire, he just seduces everybody.
Exactly. And so Pfeiffer, the reason why I'm impressed with her is because she equally knocks it out of the park. But like you said, it's a thankless role.
Mm-hmm.
And she has to play this pious character who's dealing with all of this moral confusion that she's feeling while interacting with Malkovich's character. And she gets none of the funny, comedic, satirical lines.
Yeah, none of the
that
double
anybody
meanings
else
or
gets.
anything.
She's just an honest person who struggles with her feelings for this person she knows is a fraud and a charlatan, and then she dies of a broken heart, by the end of the film. Like,
Yeah,
it's
she
a
has some
very
sort of
sad
mysterious ailment, which is
Yeah.
probably just Malkovich giving her an STD.
She's the Padme
Syphilis.
Amidala of the film.
role. Yeah.
Oh God, do not do her that horrible aspersion.
So like I said, but she knocks it out of the park that way. Now, Keanu Reeves, similar to Michelle Pfeiffer, is playing an entirely humorless character in the movie. But yeah, he's just not given enough to do to leave much of an impression.
He's literally his
he's
screen
fine.
time
He's
is.
fine.
I think there's a stretch of like an hour where he does not show up.
He does not show up. What I will say, though, is that come the end of the movie, when Malkovich is full of rage and fury at the fact that he satisfied every part of the deal that he had brokered with Glenn Close,
Yeah.
and she still won't have sex with him, and he's so mad.
I sent you a picture of my dick. Respond. Yeah.
I drew you a... and he's so full of fury that... Here's where I was a little confused. Malkovich and Keanu Reeves, they are in a duel at the end of the movie. They do not make it clear who prompts the duel. And I was wondering if either of you guys caught something.
Glenn Close.
Who Glenn Close asks them to fight each other?
No, Glenn Close reveals that because Uma Thurman's character ends up getting pregnant and having a miscarriage, Glenn Close's
By
character-
Malkovich.
via Malkovich is tutelage, and Glenn Close is the one who reveals that.
No, it is Keanu who challenges him to a duel.
But Glenn Close is the one who tells Keanu,
Yes.
right? That
yeah, because again,
Gotcha.
Keanu
her honor
basically
has been
cannot
besmirched.
like make choices for himself.
No.
right.
Yeah,
And
now
in,
that he's
in-
got
in
Close.
the convention of the time, a duel.
Right.
What a wonderful. Bring it back.
And remember, and
Yeah.
Keanu did love Uma Thurman.
He did.
Yes.
That's the thing, like as much as he did end up like being seduced by Glenn Close, he loved Uma Thurman.
He had that cute little scene. He's playing harpsichord and she's playing harp regular.
We just talked
just
about
talked
this.
and
about
he
it.
passed her
It's
the note.
piano.
I know, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I wanted to just say harpsichord and harp.
Oh.
And he passes her the cute little note. And, just,
just
and
says
the
hi.
note she just opens it and just says, I love you.
Keanu.
That was really like hilariously adorable. It was like all written in cursive.
Yeah.
Like just like I love you.
The only thing it was missing was like, do you love me back? And then a Y or an N.
Yeah.
And like, or a question mark at the end. Maybe.
That one,
Unless-
oh my god.
Circle one.
Also, if any listeners want to like just like Photoshop that in, please do. But yeah, but there's that, and I do like Keanu in that final duel scene.
That's where he shines.
Where he's lost his cool totally.
Yeah.
This guy who's just kind of gone along with what everyone told him to do for this whole story.
Yeah.
And now finally he's like, this is fucked up. You people suck. Why did you do this? I'm going to kill you.
Well, he's just confusedly in a duel.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck, I'm barely in this, and now I'm fighting this man. Malkovich, I feel like, also crushes it in this scene, because in the duel scene, too. Because, like, he's obviously, at this point, he's caught feelings for Pfeiffer. Feelings for Pfeiffer will be the podcast about her.
Feelings PF somehow.
Sponsored by Pfizer Drug Corporation.
Feelings for Pfeiffer.
But, like, yeah, I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer's character is basically the death knell for someone like Malkovich.
Right.
So, like, he catches feelings. He's forced to break things off, according to Glenn Close. This is where things become, like, start to spiral into a death spiral, because they piss each other off, then they just try and destroy each other, and that's why it's revealed that the miscarriage or whatever was caused by Malkovich, which leads to the duel.
Correct.
They're fighting. Malkovich is depressed, finally. He's just like, Glenn Close won't fuck me. I have meaningless sex with so many people. The one woman I loved, I'm like, because of my stupid fucking reputation as like an amoral Lothario, I have to like say it's beyond my control and break things off with this woman that I actually finally feel some spark of genuine emotion with. So he basically he
has a death wish.
He's suicidal, and he's doing this duel with Keanu, and so he's just got this empty stare, and like kind of like he's physically exhausted and just spiritually exhausted from what he's been doing. And so, like, the duel is very funny because he's just got this empty look the whole time.
Yeah. And the duel is great because this is just, like, it requires a lot of physical action from the two of them as well, because the duel is so sloppy.
As it probably would be. You know?
As it would be between two people who spent 99.99999% of their lives sitting in sofas, suddenly asking the two of them to pick up swords and kill each other. So they're fighting with no skill, or like
I've been laying on a divan and eating bonbons for years.
Yeah, my IT band hurts, and I don't even know what an IT band is.
Yeah,
and they're just clacking swords together like a bunch of fucking idiots, and then rolling in the snow, and neither of them are really landing anything. And Malkovich gets the upper hand a couple times, but this is why you know that he's actually just trying to commit suicide by Keanu's sword, because he takes the upper hand, has Keanu on the ground a few times, and even when he finally is like pinned against a wall, he sort of is just daintily fingering the hilt of his sword and then just lets it drop before he turns around pretending to attack Keanu, and Keanu spears him in the stomach. So this guy doesn't want to live anymore.
There is also the incredible shot when he dies. It is, I mean, it's perfect because they're fighting in the snow.
Yeah.
It's like suddenly the weather has just turned cold right when there has to be a sword fight.
It's like Lady Snowblood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's this shot just of like Keanu holding his dead body with this trail of blood in the snow, in the snow from it. I just hit my microphone and it swung away. But yeah, really just a nice death.
A beautiful death.
And then hard cut to Glenn Close's character freaking
He gives Keanu his collection of letters.
Of correspondence,
of damning
with Close.
correspondence.
And he's like, you may decide upon reading these to disperse them to everybody.
The flowery language really doesn't serve them well when they're bleeding out, and he needs to deliver information quickly. And he's like, upon the receiving of these letters, you may, despite your better judgment of the future repercussions of such an act, choose in so much as your heart is willing. It's just like, dude, you're dying.
I love Malkovich's death line though, which is Keanu Reeves is looking at him and he's like, you understand that like anything you're telling me now, I'm going to view with a little bit of incredulity. And Malkovich is like, that's totally understandable. You've been acting, with, understandable intentions this entire time. Nothing ever could have been said for me, or something like that. That's his line right before he,
he realizes he's just been arbitrarily. Because the thing is that Glenn Close's character at the very least has like she's reacting to society in such a way like that makes sense, or almost feels like it has not a justifiable basis, but a basis that you can empathize with or like understand.
Yeah.
Whereas Malkovich is just someone born of the aristocracy who is doing these things for reasons that are unclear, aside from maybe like a bored sense of maliciousness.
And
Also,
even
I
then,
just remember, like, her motive for this is revenge.
Yeah.
On the guy, who broke off a relationship with her. So it's not a good reason. Actually, she's really overreacting, as in like, because it is the guy.
You're being crazy.
It's the older fiance of Uma Thurman who had a relationship with her, and then he broke it off. So she's like, I'm gonna get this older guy to fuck your fiance, and that'll like mess up your life.
Yeah.
So again, big overreaction, way too extreme, but also there is like motivation there.
But
for
also
Malkovich, it's just pure like desire.
Yeah.
Yes, because he is a fuck machine in this movie. There is a point in the movie where like he still needs to like bed Michelle Pfeiffer, and he's like writing a letter to her on the back of another whore that he recently had sex with, and he looks tired, like he's finally like reached the end of his appetites. He's like sleepily like, my dearest love, like fucking Jesus Christ, like I don't even want to have sex.
He's
with
written
people
this
anymore.
letter so many times. He's like, my dearest love.
I mean, remember the scene
the
where
hours
Michelle
away from
Pfeiffer
you.
comes in to talk to him, and he's like saying goodbye to a courtesan.
Yes.
And she's like, what was that woman doing there? And he's like, oh, I mean, he reminds me of the Grinch here. You know when the Grinch gives his
Fucks a
explanation
whore?
exactly, gives his explanation to Cindy Lou Who about like, oh, this is why I'm taking this tree.
Right.
Yeah.
There's this light on one side that won't light, and it's honestly kind of like that. He's like, oh, just listen to me. I have like, of course, like I expected that you would arrive while she was still here.
He's like, why on earth would I be philandering with some woman when I knew well in advance you had been announced to the room?
You had been announced,
right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
babe, you've been announced,
Baby, you were
babe.
announced.
there is like there's more than one scene of him just writing letters on women's backs.
Well, he loves the challenge, though. Like he said, like he just gets the sick thrill of
Oh my
sweet
God.
talking his way out of basically any situation, and
then
he keeps needing to up the stakes because he's so bored.
I love the reverse scene, by the way, of, we get earlier in the movie him very, very cavalierly writing the letter on the back of this other woman's, his letter on the back of this other woman. And then later in the movie, when Uma Thurman has kind of been like perversely corrupted by him, she's writing her own like sarcastic letter on his naked back. And he's dictating what she should write. And he's like, oh, just, write some bullshit about like the hours spent apart are the most difficult one, an eternity in my eyes.
It looks like it probably feels nice
Yeah.
to have someone write a letter on parchment on your back. Little scratches,
like a
of
little,
the quill.
it's like getting your back scratched. in a
Yeah,
way.
it's kind of nice.
Yeah, like a little creature comfort.
So anyway,
Yeah.
Malkovich dies.
he does.
He's
Glenn
dead
Close
as
is
hell.
The letters
damning.
have been published. Mm-hmm. I mean,
Her reputation is ruined.
That's the thing that happens at the end of Cruel Intentions when Bittersweet Symphony plays and Reese Witherspoon publishes all of like her mean letters about everybody.
Wow.
I get it now.
Yeah,
It's like Dangerous Liaisons.
Okay, by the way, I want to say I was so happy when they said the title in the dialogue. Remember that?
I
Yeah.
do, of course.
It was great. I just love it when that happens. Also, it made me think that I really wish this was the start of like a series. Like, I wish there was a sequel to this called Even More Dangerous Liaisons.
Yeah, that does
like
sound good.
really dangerous liaisons.
Yeah, I was
like
thinking-
not kidding this time.
No,
Stupid doo-doo dumb dangerous.
I think that'd be the fifth
Liaisons.
one. The third one would just be the most dangerous
Yeah.
liaisons.
Dangerousist.
And then the liaison supremacy. And then dangerous
Liaison Ghost
liaisons,
Protocol?
The liaison ultimatum.
liaison revengeance. We all played that game, right?
Yeah.
No, I always wanted to.
I didn't either.
It's
Yeah.
funny, like
If I'm being
nowadays
honest.
liaisons is like literally a job title. Like when I hear it in this French context, it adds the mystique back to the word. But when I hear liaison, I feel like I just see that on like
Yeah, do you mind
resumes.
liaising for our like brand or whatever?
Yeah.
That's
Guys, did you know
All of the
that,
sensuousness is
that in
pulled out of this
2012
word.
there was a Chinese adaptation, also
Nice.
called Dangerous Liaisons? It screened at the Cannes Film Festival.
What year?
2012.
Did you know something? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, Jake, I know all.
Did you know something, Pat?
Well,
Pat, let me just ask you a question. Did you know anything?
I don't know anything.
I should stop prefacing stuff with "Can I say something?" But
Jake, you are a co-host of this podcast.
I know
Say
I have like
anything
such
you
a
want.
lack of confidence.
And you know, like the Cameron Crowe film says, say anything. ...
Say anything, I will. Did you guys know that this movie? I love it when this happens because it happens like every 5 years or so. But when this movie was coming out, 1988, there was a competing Dangerous Liaisons adaptation that was in the works from Milos Forman.
What?
Who wanted to make the movie of this first.
What?
And so Hampton,
Director of Amadeus.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, yeah. And Man on the Moon, or whatever. So anyways, I love it when this happens, which is basically the same movie comes out in super close proximity of one another. This movie came out just the year before Milos Forman's adaptation of the novel, which was called Valmont. And it came out the year after this, but this has already swept the Oscars, and obviously this is the more well-known movie of the time.
Interesting.
But Hampton was writing the screen adaptation of his own play, and he caught wind when this was in pre-production, and he was like, "Fucking Milos Forman," and Milos Forman he had his casting director available, and they were trying to snipe each other's actors because everybody was drawing from the same pool of who they thought would be good for the movie. And then his movie came out the following year. This came out in 1988, I think.
Who played Valmont?
That's a good question.
And was it called Dangerous Liaisons?
Nope, it was called Valmont.
Oh, that's why I couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah, it came out the
Colin
following...
Firth and Annette Bening.
Oh, dang.
Holy shit. Young Colin Firth.
Yeah.
I always think
sexy.
I mean, like,
Colin
thing is, like,
Firth.
I think young Colin Firth in terms of BBC Pride and Prejudice, in the mid '90s. This is like 6 years before that. Whoa, Fairuza Balk.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Jeffrey Jones is in this.
Yeah.
What?
I'm kind of curious to watch the movie now.
Yeah.
But this is just so funny to me because it's like when...
Oh, the poster is hilarious.
It's like the Capote movies.
It's like the Capote movies.
It's the ants to Dangerous
Life.
Liaisons of Bug's Life. It's the Shark
Absolutely.
Tale to its Finding Nemo.
But in those, there's like a clear victor in the quality and recognition.
Well, there isn't.
I don't know about this one.
I think there is because you know what? One of these movies won 3 Academy Awards. The other did not.
Is Valmont a big piece of shit though?
I don't know if the movie's supposed to be bad or not. I just know like it was
Shark's
greatly
Tale is.
overshadowed by...
Yeah, it is Shark Tale singular.
Shark Tale is a big piece of shit.
Hey,
Singular.
it had the powerful voice acting talent of Will Smith
Will
and Martin
Smith.
Scorsese.
Together for the first time.
Hey, Will, what are you
Finally.
doing out here, huh? What's freaking,
What's going on out here, Will?
huh? Rabbit.
By the way, so I was looking at the Oscar nominations from the year Dangerous Liaisons was up, and also, man, 80s Oscars, funny. But so it lost Best Picture to Rain Man, and one of the other nominees actually was The Accidental Tourist, directed by Lawrence Kasdan, who's directing one of the upcoming Keanu movies that we'll be covering in just a matter of weeks. I Love You to Death. And there was also Mississippi Burning and Working Girl.
Wow.
And the people who got the Best Actor nomination and beat out Malkovich, who again I'm surprised was snubbed,
Yeah.
were Dustin Hoffman won. Gene Hackman, Tom Hanks, Edward James Olmos, and Max von Sydow
Nice.
for Pell the Conqueror.
Never heard of it.
It is a neither have I. It is a film written and directed by Billy August. It's Swedish.
All right.
Jake hates it. Jake hates Swedes.
Hey, I didn't
I'm just
say
like-
that.
Also, and Edward James Olmos was nominated for Stand and Deliver.
Oh my
which I'm
God.
like,
Stand and Deliver. the true story of Jaime
Jaime
Escalante,
Escalante?
the calculus teacher
Yeah.
in Southern California.
Never seen it.
Beautiful.
Beautiful film.
How do I teach these kids? That's a South Park reference.
Oh.
They literally do a joke about Stand and Deliver
Okay.
in South Park.
Glenn Close lost
How
to
do I
Jodie
teach these
Foster in The
kids?
Accused. Glenn Close lost to Jodie Foster in The Accused.
Oh,
and
no.
Michelle
Okay.
Pfeiffer lost to Gina Davis in The Accidental Tourist. And
Okay.
this movie got no male acting nominations.
That's too bad. Malkovich is really good.
He's great.
Has he ever won an Academy Award, John Malkovich? I'm sure he's been nominated.
He has
That's
been
my
nominated.
guess.
I don't think he's. I literally just looked this up a minute ago. 1 second. I'll have this momentarily. John Malkovich.
Should we
End the episode.
end it?
Yeah, we're almost there.
John Malkovich was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Places in the Heart, and he was also nominated for In the Line of Fire.
Okay.
Never heard of those.
Places in the Heart. That is it's a drama from the mid '80s. One of his earlier movies. It's got Sally Field, Ed Harris, Danny Glover. It involves a farm.
God damn it.
And in the line
Nothing has sold me on this movie.
In the Line of
I'm not
Fire
gonna see it.
is a movie with Clint Eastwood from '93.
Oh,
it's a
yeah,
political
yeah,
thriller.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. Wait, is Malkovich the guy who tries to assassinate the president? Because that seems like a perfect Malkovich role.
It does.
See, when I think John Malkovich, I think crazy guy who tries to assassinate the president.
Yeah.
I don't think sexy Frenchman who seduces younger women.
Seduces
All evil
everyone.
though. Evil though. That's the key.
Always evil.
Is this
Always
Uma
bad.
Thurman's first role too in this movie? She's so good.
She's
in
only
this.
18.
She's like genuinely great
Or
in the role.
wait, had she done Baron Munchausen yet?
It's right around the same time. I think this is the year before Baron Munchausen. I think Munchausen's 89.
She also towers over everybody. She's so much taller than most people.
I know,
in the
it's
movie.
funny.
Not Keanu.
Not Keanu.
Not Keanu. That's why they're destined
Yo, our
to
boy
be
is
together.
so tall.
He's 6'2".
No, our dude is so tall.
Our dude,
boy
sorry.
also so
is
tall.
also so tall. Similar heights. I think Josh is a bit taller.
Oh! Same year as Baron Munchausen. She has a couple. Actually, her first film is called Kiss Daddy Goodnight. It came out in '87. It is a neo-noir psychological thriller that there's not much information about. Then a movie called Johnny Be Good. A teen comedy, and then we've got Baron Munchausen, Dangerous Liaisons, and this is a preview of our upcoming podcast.
Thirsty for Thurman.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Nice.
Thank you. I was trying to come up with something for Uma, and I
Uma,
was...
Uma, yay.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
Oh my god, I love the movies.
Let's end this episode.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
No, I
This is
love this
good.
movie. This movie's so fun.
It's
sexy.
It's sexy. That's what I think of as sexy.
Oh God.
This movie's sexy.
And I don't want to apologize to the guy who wrote us the 2-star
fuck
review
that person.
because clearly he didn't listen to this episode.
Yeah. You can eat a fat one, dude.
You can eat a poot.
Yeah. No, he'd like that.
Yeah.
I always think of the sexy stuff.
Okay.
He's got that poot eating grin.
In
Ugh, I don't like that phrase that I just said. I'm sorry.
Jake never
Bail.
ever
Let's bail.
I'm gonna bail.
never that. Okay.
I regret saying that.
Friends, Torpey's countrymen. Next week we are talking about Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Dude, yes.
Here we go.
Here we go, baby.
It's on.
And so I just want to say thank you to Brian Host for our theme song. Thank you to Emma Logsdon for our artwork. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Keanu Podcast. If you want to send us an email, keanupodcast@gmail.com. Please go to Apple Podcasts and maybe write us a nice review because this
Yes.
one guy wrote us a bad review and it
hurt our feelings.
It hurt our
really
feelings,
hurt my
even
feelings.
if it made us laugh a whole lot.
It did. It brought me more joy.
Write us good reviews. We like those more.
Yeah.
Go hang out in our subreddit, r/Thrillums. You can talk about the episodes there. Also answer these questions that we have asked of you. Give us that feedback that we want. And Jake, you want to plug
Yes. Follow me on Vero at Dangerous Vero account.
This sucked.
Thanks, Jake. Really good one. That's all, and be excellent to one another.